Each week, nearly a dozen movies are released theatrically. 40 films a month, more than 400 a year. That's a plethora of cinema. Too much cinema. You'd have to be an addict to see all that. But don't fret. We've got you covered. This is CinemAddicts.
Hey everyone, what's up? It's a new week of CinemAddicts. This is CinemAddicts episode 320. Me, Eric Holmes, and Bruce Purkey, we're covering movies that are coming out the week of Friday, November 14th, 2025. This is, right now we're recording on Thursday, November 13th. So apologies for that. The last several weeks, Eric and I, we've been recording on Thursday. It seems like a really cool day to record. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well,
Eric,
let's see. The first time I came back from Vegas and then had like the worst sinus headache / toothache / earache / I don't know what the hell it was, but it hurt like hell. And then last week, a couple hours before we were going to record, just the power went out in my whole neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And then this week, I don't know what the thing was this week, but it looks like Thursdays might be the day. Wednesdays seem to be cursed for some reason.
I think maybe, we should probably do Thursdays moving forward. I don't mind Thursdays, and that's something obviously.
I like trying for Wednesdays in case everything goes right, but we always have Thursday as a backup.
I'm going to tell you in a second. I'm going to tell you listeners, most importantly, because Eric and I, we're good friends, but you audience members, you guys are the most important part because you drive up the views. You listen to our movie podcast. You help us monetize enough that we can afford some cheeseburgers, Eric, right? We get our cheeseburger money from...
They listen to our crap, and I don't know why, but I'm thankful they do. I'm thankful you do because you're listening right now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, CinemAddicts listeners. And here's the thing. I am completely shot this episode. Eric doesn't sound like he's shot, but he is shot this episode. And I'm going to tell you why. Thursday is a better day. Because, family show. The movies that we're covering this week, the week ending or beginning Friday, November 14th, 2025, include the movies Muzzle, City of Wolves, King Ivory, Serious People, The Carpenter's Son, Murder at the Embassy, Trap House, In Your Dreams, and Kaantha. That's 8 movies that are coming out the week of Friday, November 14th, 2025. That's 8 movies we're covering. That is, I think, a record of movies we're going to cover in CinemAddicts. CinemAddicts started with me and Anderson around 2015. It is now 2025, 10 years later. It's going to be a gargantuan show. I know this because already Bruce Purkey up in the attic, I listened to a little bit of his version, his section of this podcast. It's 53 minutes. On top of the 8 movies we're reviewing this episode, Bruce Purkey also has...
Not to mention the recommends.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm done. We're done with this episode. Bruce Purkey also reviews...
It's too much. We can't even fathom it.
We can't even fathom it. Bruce Purkey also reviews up in the attic the new Netflix series, The Beast in Me, which I saw as well, but I'm not going to review it for the purposes of the show because Eric has work in about several hours, and this would be a 3-hour podcast if we include...
You know what? We got time. We got time.
Settle
in and get it done.
All right. And Bruce Purkey also has a review of Apple TV's Pluribus, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen the first couple of episodes. And I think I didn't listen to Bruce's review of Frankenstein or Frankenstein, if you're a fan of Young Frankenstein or Young Frankenstein. But he has a review of that, the Guillermo del Toro's new film with Oscar Isaac and I believe Jacob Elordi. He has a review of that. I think Eric has already seen that, and he's going to give his 2 cents on Frankenstein as well. Yeah. So that's 8 movies, plus several other, like Eric said, several other picks. We got a lot of stuff to mention.
Badlands, saw some Predator Badlands.
Predator Badlands we have, and we're going to talk about a movie that Eric wants to promote in a few seconds, okay? In a minute. We're going to get to it. I will say this. My apologies to you guys if I sound frazzled. I just see all of these movies that we have to cover. That's a lot for me and Eric and Bruce, but who cares? The most important part is you, dear listener. Hopefully one of these movies or a couple of these movies might be worth it for you guys to watch this weekend, okay? And I think I've been trying to we've been doing this with me, Eric, and Bruce ever since Find Your Film. We've been a unit, a team for the last 5-6 years, I believe, or 5 years possibly. I also want to really hammer home, it's not just about our movie recommendations, and I haven't even told this to Eric. I think we should start not recommending movies at a faster clip. So I want us to be value added where we can tell you guys, what movies possibly not to see or have reservations this weekend. Does that mean I'm going to be a meaner reviewer? No, but I'm sort of jazzed about.
We're gonna hold on. Are you saying we're gonna talk about bad movies?
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that.
Well, then show's over. I ain't got it.
So we have a lot of stuff this weekend. Hopefully, some of these you will love. I will say this: Muzzle, City of Wolves. Eric and I had a lot to cover this weekend. We foisted. No, not Eric did. I'm not gonna throw him under the bus. I foisted that movie onto Bruce Purkey up in the attic. I gave him that lamb chop of a movie, and he was eating that cinematic lamb chop that known as Muzzle City of Wolves. It's with Aaron Eckhart, and it's with not wolves, but I think Aaron Eckhart and a police dog, and it's a sequel to Muzzle. Unfortunately, here's the thing: Eric and I are fans of those type of movies, and let's just say he and I covered so much this episode that it's Bruce Purkey, the onus was on Bruce Purkey to review Muzzle City of Wolves. And this is not his type of movie. Check out his
Bruce
review.
Is like, Muzzle? Eric makes me wear one of those.
So later in this episode, check out Bruce Purkey's review of Muzzle City of Wolves. It is interesting. Remember, it's not his type of film. I think one of the big frustrations this week is there are so many movies that we're covering this week. But Eric, I want to pose a question to you. Is it like that almost every week? Meaning, are we just covering everything this week? And is the glut of content like that every single week anyway? You see what I'm saying?
When it starts off, it's like not much. And then as the week goes on, it's like, hey, can you cover this? Can you cover this? And it's like, yeah. And then it just kind of keeps coming up. And the weird thing is, you were talking about movies that we don't like. And I don't know, maybe this is a mistake on our part, but like, for example, Muzzle City of Wolves, that would normally be a movie that me or you would cover because we like those kind of things and Bruce doesn't.
We'd be licking our chops.
And then we get what was it, like the 2 mountains or 6 mountains or whatever?
Right, the 8 mountains.
Normally that would be a movie that I'd see and go, nope, I'll let you guys do that one because
you're right. Unfortunately, you had to watch that movie. You had to watch the 8 mountains.
I did, but I'm saying like recently, like we haven't been doing that. Like if it like this one looks like a Greg movie, we'll let Greg handle it, or this is probably or like a Bruce.
Wait a second, what is a Greg movie, Eric?
Well, Muzzle, the 2 mountains, or
that runs the gamut, the 8 mountains.
But like Bruce will check out a movie and be like, hey Eric, you're Greg, check this one out, Eric. No, you're not gonna like that. I'm like, cool. I'll go watch the Dermot Mulroney movie. I'm fine with that.
You're right.
But who knows? Maybe we just start biting bullets so we can. But then what value does that add? Hey, here's a type of movie I don't normally dig. It sucks. Ooh, big surprise. Eric doesn't like a movie he doesn't gravitate towards. Ooh, Bruce doesn't like a movie he doesn't gravitate towards.
I think, and yeah, to your point, I think the listeners should know what kind of stuff where we gravitate towards, and that would help tailor their listening to the review as well. And they can say, okay, well, Bruce Purkey, I'm not going to give too much spoilers away.
Yeah, when me and Greg start fawning over a Dermot Mulroney movie, I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. However, like last week, we start crapping on a Dermot Mulroney movie.
You did.
We mean business. Well,
I did too. The first hour of Long Shadows, the Western, I really did not like, and then it won me over.
Worst Western I've ever seen. 3.5 stars.
That was Eric's quoting my review of Long Shadows last week, which leads us to say there's just a whole lot of movies that we're covering this week. I think I sound weary, and I apologize for that. Eric is energized. I think what's going to give me energy is to know that you guys will have some movies this weekend to hopefully filter through. And like Eric says, there's movies that are coming out every given weekend on your local Cineplex, Hulu, Netflix. Eric, me, and Bruce, we cover movies that are more indie driven. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise that there's a lot. I think we should take heart that there's a lot of movies we're covering this week that are not Predator, Badlands, or Frankenstein. Okay, yeah.
And according to what I saw on Twitter, apparently Disney's going to start making AI short content. So then they'll just be able to crank out that slop like nothing. You won't have time to watch even 1% of it.
I think Eric means slop. Disney folks, if you're any Disney people, if you're listening,
no, I mean slop. It's AI slop.
Slop means awesome.
AI means you click in, do the movie that I want to see, enter, and then it makes it, and it's like, I'm an artist. Look at me.
Hashtag we love AI. I'm kidding. I'm kidding on that. Now,
we are human beings. We love AI.
we love AI. What we do love, or what Eric loves specifically, is he wants to promote something before we get into our featured films right now, because there are movies coming out this week, but there are films that are also available currently on digital. One of them being this documentary called Photographic Justice, the Corky Lee story. What did you want to tell our cinematics crew about this when you've covered this before, but what did you want to refresh us with?
I did, and I did. It was a Corky Lee story. It's basically about it's a documentary about a photographer, Corky Lee, who's no longer with us, but he would take pictures of certain protests or just get into activism, take pictures of that. And it's just a documentary that kind of gets into his art, actual art, not I am a robot. I'm going to type in that you put in stuff on activism, hit enter, and I'm an art. No, he's an actual artist and a great photographer. And when you see it, he's like a great guy. Like all the people that talk, it was kind of like that John Candy documentary or the Gene Wilder documentary. With Corky Lee, it's like with John Candy and Gene Wilder, it's like everyone that came across him loves him. Same deal with Corky Lee. Like you can tell that the people that put it together had nothing but love for him. And when you see like behind the scenes stuff with him, like you can see why. But anyway, when I covered it, it was kind of like one of those things where like, maybe you can find it at a festival, or maybe it's playing at this theater or that one. Check it out if you can. Now it's available online, so go check it out. It's a good documentary, and it's a good documentary about really good guys. So there's that.
Documentaries are hopefully sheds you a light on certain subjects and were you able to learn a little bit about this late Corky Lee? Was it an interesting enough story for people to watch, in your opinion?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about him before watching the documentary. And actually, the PR lady that sent it to me, Emma, she's always pretty much anytime I got like a 5-star banger or a 6.9-star banger, 9 out of 10 times it's coming from her. So she's got me dialed in as far as like when she says, "Hey, Eric, check this out," I'm listening.
Emma's a horrible publicist.
Oh, I would never even say that as a joke. She's awesome.
See, look, he takes umbrage. We love you, Emma. Emma is a wonderful publicist. She's a publicist of Photographic Justice, the Corky Lee story. And yes, she provides us, especially Eric, because he's doing a bulk of these interviews, folks. I believe.
Speaking of interviews, got a couple this week. One is, where is it? Here it is. It's with Tamar Springer. It's called More Than Santa Baby. It's a documentary short. It's about her dad, Philip Springer, and he wrote the song.
Santa Baby, right?
Santa Baby,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, the song, you've heard of the song, and it's called More Than Santa Baby because it's like the song, everyone knows the song, but he's done a bunch more stuff and kind of here's what it is. And so it's written and directed by his daughter, so obviously there's love there, but it's pretty cool to see like, hey, here's someone that's super famous, you know his work, but you might not know who he is. That's what it is, and it's 40 minutes long. Unfortunately, right now it's just playing film festivals. I believe, where was it?
It has a premiere on Friday. I have to actually upload your interview with that director by today. Actually, we're recording this, so I'll put that on our CinemAddicts YouTube channel.
They're playing the short, which is like 40 minutes long, probably a little less than that, like with credits and everything, probably 35, 36. But anyway, if you can make it to that film festival, they're doing the short, and then Philip Springer is going to be there to play a couple songs. He's like 99 years old and still sharp with it as much as a 99-year-old can be. Also had another interview this week.
Right.
So interview for, you heard me talk about Exit Protocol.
Yes, last week.
Dolph Lundgren, and there was someone else, and I can't remember. But anyway, I got a...
Scott Martin. Yeah,
there was probably someone else in it. But anyway, I got another interview with Exit Protocol, and I've never heard of this actor before.
Oh, really? Why don't you look it up on your email?
Michael Jai White, I believe. Never heard of him. Never heard of him before. But he was really a smooth and cool guy, and I was glad to talk to him. I'm kidding. I love Michael Jai White, and I was crapping my pants the entire time. I had to change my underwear at least 5 times during the interview. You didn't see that, but just know it happened. So
I listened to the interview. You kept your cool throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, it was tough.
You could have told him, "Hey, Michael Jai White, you're my North Star." Blah blah blah, and you never went there.
I don't know if he kept it in. It was like, I'm going to try not to Chris Farley that, and he knew exactly what I was talking about.
Oh yeah, you did mention Chris Farley. Right, exactly.
But yeah, so Exit Protocol, that's good. More Than Santa Baby. If you can check out the one of the festival showings, because there's that one. There's a couple more coming up. And Photographic Justice out now. Go check it out. It's a really good documentary. And it's about Corky. It's about a guy you'll just fall in love with.
We're giving you a whole bunch of stuff.
And we haven't even started the show yet.
We haven't even started. And I'm not complaining. This is good because Eric's been doing a lot of work this week. He's doing a lot of work. We've been doing a lot of work for you guys to hopefully, like I said earlier, get some information on movies that are probably far off the beaten path, indie, interesting stuff. I haven't even told this to Eric, but I was actually thinking our CinemAddicts YouTube channel, I'm going to start I've said this before, we used to have that podcast, Find Your Film. It's been out of commission for the last couple of months. I still have the feed up and running. Eric's interviews are here on CinemAddicts. My interviews, I should be putting it up on Find Your Film, but I'm going to put our Find Your Film and CinemAddicts podcast on our CinemAddicts YouTube channel for free. When you listen to our audio podcast on CinemAddicts, our YouTube channel, you will not have to listen to commercials. Even when or if we get monetized on that channel, I will leave all of those audio podcasts up for you guys to listen and enjoy without any kind of Google ads, YouTube ads, sponsorship stuff. That's for you guys.
Oh, like the ones that automatically pop up won't even pop up?
Exactly, Eric. The ones that automatically pop up
Excellent.
On our Apple Podcast, Spotify, or like Eric was mentioning on YouTube, because we have another channel called Deepest Dream. We have a lot of commercials that pop up on our respective videos that Bruce and Eric does and all that stuff. But for CinemAddicts, our YouTube channel, we're trying to get to 1,000 subs. We're trying to get to 4,000 watch hours. Yes, we would love to get more subscribers and more watch hours to get monetized. But once we do get monetized on that channel, my goal, and I haven't told this to Eric and Bruce yet, but is to funnel all of our Find Your Film and CinemAddicts interviews, audio interviews onto that channel and just add some extra material. So when you listen to something like that, this episode, which is so chock full of stuff, you can also go to our YouTube channel to see sort of sections of this episode, maybe Eric's interview with a Santa Baby, what is it, More Than Santa Baby? More Than Santa Baby filmmaker, and you can actually see his stuff with Michael Jai White. And for me, the Find Your Film stuff is not going to supplant CinemAddicts. Think of it as a B-side to CinemAddicts, which I'm going to start revving up again because
which is where we'll put the content that we're talking about right now on the stuff that is like, I just came here to listen about movies. I don't care about how sausage is made, but
well, exactly. And listeners, hopefully we're going to put one thing we used to love on Find Your Film is the word hodgepodge. We're going to just put a hodgepodge of film and television coverage on that YouTube channel. And again, all of our audio streams will be no monetization. So if you want to listen to our stuff clean on your iPhone, just download, obviously, YouTube, listen to CinemAddicts on our YouTube app, and you can listen to our reviews without, yes.
You might even go so far as to call it a podcast.
A podge. Right, very good, Eric. Was very, very good at that.
Yes. We got a lot of movies to talk about.
We do. And that's it for this. That's our teaser. And we're going to end with our teaser because now I'm tired. We're 20 minutes in and we have about 2.5 hours to go, Eric Holmes. Oh my God.
We've only talked about 3 movies so far. What the hell are we thinking?
What the heck are we thinking? Okay, so movies are, again, Muzzle City of Wolves. That is Bruce's choice. King Ivory, Serious People, The Carpenter's Son, Murder at the Embassy, Trap House, In Your Dreams, and Kaantha. The Russian roulette, the roulette wheel spins. Hopefully it's a safe family show. Roulette wheel. It's going to spin. Eric is going to stop and he's going to pick one of these movies for me or him to cover. And here's the thing. Here's a caveat. Unfortunately, Eric and I will be taking turns on the movies because we did not see one movie together. So the roads did not cross together this week. But the good news is each of us will be tackling one of these films other than Muzzle City of Wolves, that is. So Eric, you pick the movie right now to cover and then we will cover it.
You know what? I want to hear Murder at the Embassy. I always dig a good murder mystery. I don't know if that's what this is, but Greg, please, the floor is yours.
The floor is mine. Thank you. Murder at the Embassy. It's in theaters, on digital, and on demand. And it's very quick. I believe I got to look it up on my email. I didn't put it up very quickly, but here it's Misha Barton is Miranda Green, a sleuth who investigates the murder of a British secretary in Cairo under the British embassy. Actor Mito Hamada is the embassy security guard. His name is Mahmoud, and who has an initial lack of respect to Miranda Green. And it is a murder mystery. It is actually the second installment to a series. I believe the first one was called Invitation to a Murder. And Misha Barton, do you know who Misha Barton is, Eric? I don't think you do because you don't watch too much television.
That name sounds incredibly familiar and I can't quite place it.
Okay, you can't quite place it because you never saw that Fox series, The OC. If I was a huge fan of The OC way back in the day, she was one of the big stars. She was headed towards a huge level of stardom. And over the years, just never got to that place. But now
she was in Glitched. I saw it was, yeah.
Okay, good.
I don't know if I covered that yet, but I definitely seen it. And I believe she was in Spree.
Okay, good.
Oh,
good.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I recognize her from.
Okay, well, very good. And also, you might recognize her from years ago over at The Sixth Sense. She plays one of the ghosts who is, I think she throws up on herself or something like that. She's one of the ghosts in The Sixth Sense. You'd remember that scene. She has a very interesting scene in The Sixth Sense. But for the purposes of this movie, Murder at the Embassy, she plays Miranda Green. It's set in 1930s Egypt, and she's investigating the murder of a British secretary, again, in Cairo. What was the name of the other movie yes, Invitation to a Murder, I was correct, was released in 2023. Both of these movies, Invitation to a Murder and A Murder at the Embassy, are directed by Stephen Shemek. I believe that's his name, Shimek. I interviewed both Shemek and actor Mito Hamada about this murder at the embassy. I should put that up on our Find Your Film podcast. And again, that will be funneled to our CinemAddicts YouTube channel. Hopefully, that's my goal. That's my goal. And I think the only way I can achieve my goal, Eric, is on the weekends. I'm just going to be working hard, putting all of our interviews up on our respective YouTube channels and audio channels.
I will send you a backpack full of meth. Exactly. You can just get it done.
Exactly. So let's get to the review of Murder at the Embassy. Is it worth it? I will say this. If you are a fan of murder mysteries, which I'm a huge fan of, this one works. The only caveat is you're thinking, well, Eric is wondering, he doesn't know Misha Barton well. Actually, Eric, it doesn't really matter for Eric, but a lot of people were saying, well, Murder at the Embassy does not have the A-list stars of maybe a Ryan Johnson film like Knives Out. Well, yeah, it doesn't have the star power. Misha Barton is very good as Miranda Green, and the actual ensemble is well done. I don't mean this in a bad way. People might be looking at Murder at the Embassy, and because of the success of the Knives Out franchise, they might say this is a light version of a Knives Out film. And they wouldn't be wrong. The movie, it's releasing in theaters on demand and on digital November 14th. What's interesting is, for all I'm saying right now, with the lack of A-level talent, the talent itself, the ensemble is really engaged. I like Misha Barton as Miranda Green, very interesting sleuth. She has a wry sense of humor, and she's very gutsy, and she's smart. I really enjoyed how the murder mystery played out. The production design and the cinematography, there's a section where they go out in the desert in Egypt. And I was asking the director, was that CGI? Because it looked so beautiful, and it wasn't. They were out there in the desert, and they're looking at the pyramids. So, wow. There are some breathtaking, beautiful shots of murder. And at the embassy, there's really interesting car chase sequence. And I liked, again, like I said, the mystery is well done. I was going to give this, I thought when I got this screener link, I was thinking it might be one of these 3-star, 2.5-star movies where it's just a fair exercise, but was not a slog. Solid murder mystery. I'm giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed Murder at the Embassy. This is also a litmus test. I want to go back and watch Invitation to a Murder as well. And I hope there are more installments of this Miranda Green series. This one set in 1930s Egypt is really beautiful looking. And again, theaters on digital on demand. A lot of you, if you are homebodies this weekend and love that murder mystery stuff, this might be a really interesting film for you to purchase as well.
Let me ask a quick thing, because I think this is important with murder mysteries. Does it play fair in that does it give you the clues to be able to solve the mystery before the movie ends, or does it do the thing where someone does flashbacks and then they show you things that were never in the movie?
They do not show you the flashbacks. The mystery, the unraveling of the mystery itself is, they don't give you enough clues to help you solve the mystery, but they don't give you the whole withholding stuff with all these flashbacks that you didn't see. It's just the evolution of a story where you get to see certain pieces unfold, but in a very fair way.
Yeah, so, I'm not saying you need everything like right at the start of the movie, but like as the movie goes on, I think a good murder mystery like gives you clues throughout, and at some point before they do the reveal, if you're paying attention and you caught everything, you should be able to figure it out. And then the filmmaker's job is to obfuscate those clues or give you red herrings or stuff to throw you off. But I always think that if a murder mystery is playing fair, you might not necessarily figure it out by then, but you should be able to if you're paying enough attention.
It's right. Very good. It's not that intricate as far as you should know. Or maybe I'm not that smart
not so much that you should know, but you could know.
You could know. Right.
But then there's other times where like they show who the killer is, and then they do the flashbacks, and then there's the reason they do the flashbacks is because they're showing you other information that you never knew throughout the movie. It's like, well, I would have never figured that out because he didn't show me that until just now.
Well, one of the things, no, so goodness, they don't do that. They don't cheat like that. Okay. And I think it's more of a pet peeve for you than me, but you're right. It should be a pet peeve for a lot of people. Now, regarding the ensemble cast, all of them are interesting. Their characters are interesting. They may be, I looked at a review and they were saying, oh, some of these characters are one note, but when
it's a murder mystery.
That's a murder mystery. My goodness.
That's kind of like watching an action movie going, there's too much fighting in it. It's like, what the hell did he come to?
And if they're caricatures, they're supposed to be a little bit like caricatures. That's why Clue is a board game.
It's part of the genre.
It's two-dimensional, right? It's part of the genre. So I had a good, and going back to the star quality.
It was this horror movie and there's too many scary moments in it.
Oh yeah, I apologize. My camera went out again. This bleeping camera is something else. Yeah, let's see if it works again. Yeah, let's see. That will happen. This is a DJ Osmo 3 that I got, and sometimes it goes in and out. It's a family show, and I don't really like how, look, right now this is my main thing. Hold on. Let's see, webcam. Let's see. Yeah, okay, good. I apologize for that. DJI Osmo Pocket 3. You bleepers.
Bleepers, you really told them.
Bleepers, you with your, just sometimes it happens. Well, it happens once every episode. But anyways.
They're going to be sitting at home listening to this go, he called me a bleeper.
Murder mysteries, also they hang their hat on all-star cast, A-level cast members were celebrities, just like the Ryan Johnson films. This one, even though they don't have maybe actors that you might automatically know other than Misha Barton and possibly Mito Hamad, it's still interesting. I still like the characters. I still like the way the murder mystery unfolded, and there's some really interesting twists in Murder at the Embassy. And there's also a level of interesting things regarding sort of a pre-World War II element. Let's just say that regarding Murder at the Embassy. Remember, it's 1930s Egypt. I'm going to cough in a second. But my rating, again, I said 3.5 out of 5 stars. 1 second.
Yeah. It's just as good as the worst Western you've ever seen.
Folks, when I say 3.5 out of 5 stars, Eric's in jest. That's so funny. I mean, it's a solid movie. In my opinion, not going to go wrong watching this movie. When I give it something like 3 stars, it's a mild recommendation. This one isn't a mild recommendation. This is solid.
I'm actually pretty interested in this because I do like murder mysteries, and especially the ones that play fair. If it plays fair, I'm in. I like, as far as like not having A-list actors, I don't even.
But you know what I mean? When you don't have those A-list actors, you're punching up.
The A-list actors help sell it, but it can be a good movie without them. Without them.
Yes, and that is exactly what happened with Murder at the Embassy.
As long as the murder mystery is playing fair with its audience, I don't care.
Okay.
And as far as the one-dimensional characters, also don't care. That's kind of what I'm here for.
Eric, speaking of which, we're done with Murder at the Embassy. Let's go to our next movie. You're the dealer this episode. You can keep on.
You know what? Let's go with King Ivory.
King Ivory. Here's the thing with King Ivory. There is a huge plot summary here on our Google Doc.
Do not need to read it.
I'm a tired man, Eric. Yeah. I don't want to. I will say this. It stars James Badge Dale. It stars Rory Cochrane, who I love. And, well, we all love James Badge Dale as well. Some really good actors. I see Ben Foster. We also have Melissa Leo.
Melissa Leo.
Melissa Leo, who...
I mean, this could have been a murder mystery. Who knows?
Melissa Leo is a frequent collaborator with filmmaker John Swab, who is the director of King Ivory. Eric Holmes, this movie hits theaters November 14th. It feels like a drug trafficking type of story. Tell us about King Ivory and your review of it.
John Swab, director and writer of Candyland from a couple years ago, which is awesome. I believe Bruce didn't like it, but, that's why he's locked in a closet. He's not always right about things.
You and I both love that movie so much.
But yeah, so King Ivory is kind of like how you call cocaine blow or heroin like China or white China or whatever. King Ivory is fentanyl. It's another word for fentanyl. So you got fentanyl coming into the United States, and then you have the point of view. Now, I've never seen The Wire, okay? I would love to see The Wire. Eventually, I'll find the first season, which I'll start with that and move my way through it slowly. But I've never seen The Wire. But the way it's been described to me is that The Wire takes you see it from the criminals, and then you see from the perspective of the cops, and you see from the perspective of like the Law and Order. I've seen Law and Order. That does the same thing.
Perspective from the journalists, politicians.
Not necessarily Rashomon style.
Right.
It doesn't do the same story from different perspectives. What it does is you're following the story, but it's not following one person. It's constantly switching between different groups of people. So you got
Does it do one of those things, sorry, Eric, where everything connects at the end? Because we've seen that a million times. Okay.
Imagine Magnolia, but with drugs.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
And so, yeah, definitely less Rashomon and more Magnolia. And so we're watching the fentanyl coming into the country. You're watching the cops try to stop it, and you're watching some kids get into it. There's a horrifying scene where they got a bunch of people in the
detention camp.
No, they're in the back of a tractor trailer, and then they just start like, oh, geez, and then they just all fall dead. Dude like stops and he's like bangs on the door. No one bangs back. It's like, oh no. He opens the door and like everyone's just dead in the back of the truck. It's got a bunch of scenes like that. They're just like, this movie is dark as hell. Talked about a movie Junkie a couple weeks ago that was really great. And Junkie does like it's got its serious moments, but it's also funny because drugs, they can ruin your life, but they can also be fun. That's why people do them. This one has no fun to it. This one's just like straight serious all the way through. And it just goes back and forth. If you look up the poster for King Ivory, this looks like it's going to be like a 3-star banger type movie where it's just like drugs and we're going to shoot them, blah, blah, blah. And don't get me wrong. I love those kind of movies. This is not that. This is like, yeah, you mentioned Traffic. This is like one of those kind of movies. Not as stylized as Traffic is, but similar to how Traffic follows the story from different perspective, like as it goes on.
I saw the running time. I think it's over 2 hours or close to it or something like that. Did it feel like a slog for you, Eric?
That long? I have to watch it again. I don't think so.
I'll look it up. Okay, yeah.
It moved pretty good. I would say, I mean, you might be right about the runtime. What I would say is I didn't feel it. It just kept, and I think part of it is that the story keeps going, but you don't stay with a group of people for too long. You stay with them for a little bit, and then you swap over to a different group of people. Now you're following that. And then now you swap to a different group of people, and you're following that. But the story's always moving forward.
2 hours and 10 minutes, Eric. Yeah, 130 minutes.
This felt like a 90-minute movie to me.
That's a great compliment.
Yeah. And yeah, John Swab, he did the Candyland.
Is there a main character?
What was the one, the Long Gone Heroes?
Right. Is what James? I'm guessing James Badge Dale might be the main character or is it just a whole bunch of?
Sort of. It's hard saying who's the main character in Magnolia.
Right, exactly.
Who's the main character of Boogie Nights? Who's the main character of King Ivory? Who knows? You're just following a bunch of different groups of people. He would be the main character within his storyline for sure, but for the whole movie, I mean, you're just rolling the dice. But yeah,
late actor Graham Greene is in this one too. He plays...
Yeah. In fact, he's not in it much, but he does pop in a little bit. Ben Foster's character, because you spend a lot of time with him in prison, and then you spend a lot of time with him out of prison. Ben Foster, look, I'm not giving any secrets here. Ben Foster's a great actor. It took me a while to figure out that was him.
Oh.
I was like, oh God, that guy seems familiar. But anyway, this character is pretty cool.
He's such a great actor.
Oh man, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Ben Foster. Well, hold on, is that Ben Foster? So this movie's pretty great.
Do you like Woody Harrelson as an actor?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate him, but I'm not like woohoo, Woody Harrelson. Like usually he's pretty good, but I'm not like, I wouldn't watch a movie just because Woody Harrelson's in it. But usually when he shows up, he's pretty good, if that makes any sense.
Woody Harrelson and Ben Foster. I told this to you months ago. They started in this war film, not a post-war film. It's called The Messenger. And I forgot if they're Marines or Army. And
did I see that?
Their job, well, yeah, this was made years ago, maybe 15 years ago, over that. The Messenger centers on these two guys who are not military, basically military vets. Their job is to go to people's homes, people's residences, and tell them that their loved ones were killed in action.
That's not the one I was thinking was Medieval, which was not good. But
look, okay, you and I disagree with that. I enjoyed Medieval, but I remember you not liking it. I forgot if Bruce saw it or not. But I will say this, that The Messenger is a fantastic film. Just like I recommended City of Industry from last week, this is one of these things. I hope The Messenger comes your way down the road. It's a very fantastic, it's just a powerfung film. And you said
Mia Jovovich.
Right. Well, Ben, I'll tell you.
As Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc. I actually did that press junket, The Messenger, Joan of Arc story, or whatever, Joan of Arc. Yeah, I forgot what it was called. But this one just called The Messenger. Has nothing to do with Joan of Arc, and it's really well done. But anyways, King Ivory, 130 minutes in theaters, November 14th. Eric, what is your rating?
I will give this one 5 stars. This is like a really great version of this kind of movie.
5 stars? That's a lot.
There's another movie we'll cover that's similar to it. Not as good, but still good. Because, spoiler alert, I haven't seen a bad movie this week.
Are you surprised you gave it 5 stars? Are you surprised at how well?
No, because so first of all, I didn't know it was the guy. I didn't recognize the director's name, so I didn't know that was the same guy that did Candyland, which I loved. I think that was one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie that year came out. And so, but once the movie started, because I all I saw was the poster on the email we got. And so I was thinking this was going to be like a 3-star banger type movie. As the movie's going, I'm like, oh no, this is like, they're serious business on this one. It was really good. So,
and what's interesting, Eric and I both love his previous movie, Long Gone Heroes, and that's more of an action film. What
was that one that was really bad? Swap. No, it started off with, I can't remember. Taron Egerton.
Taron Egerton. I forgot that. Again, you and I disagree with that. I enjoyed that film. I'll look it up right now.
King Ivory, like, you know how that Taron Egerton movie like started off really good, and then they kind of gave up at the end and just started letting everything in. King Ivory starts off as strong as that movie did, and then kept up being that strong throughout. So right. It never got dumb. It just kept. I mean, it was serious business all the way through. Which
she rides shotgun. That's the Taron Egerton.
Yeah, there you go. This started off as good as she rides shotgun, and then continued that promise where she rides shotgun. It's like, all right, we started off good. Let's F off the rest of the movie.
That's still a lot of time to commit. That's 130 minutes, and it's good.
It flies by. Just flies by.
All right, folks, that's King Ivory. If you're at your local theater, Cineplex this weekend, and you see King Ivory, think of Eric Holmes over at CinemAddicts giving it 5 stars, and think of Candyland. That's a movie you should watch, or Long Gone Heroes. Or maybe look up John Swab, SWAB, over at IMDb. Look at his, whether you love his movies or not, I don't know, I think Eric might agree with me on this. John Swab definitely has a distinct vision, and opinion.
I need to burn his memory or his name in my memory because he's 3 for 3 as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, yeah, he's just a very sharp filmmaker in my opinion. Yeah. And even again, if you don't like his movies, especially for example, if you watch Candyland one day, you might say, "Oh, yuck, not for me." But you can't deny it's a definite POV, which is hard to find these days in cinema. So that is 5 stars from Eric Holmes for King Ivory. Let's go someplace a little bit different, Eric Holmes, for Netflix. I don't know if you watch a lot of stuff on Netflix, Eric, but I was treated to this animated film. I don't know if you're a huge animation fan as well, Eric. Are you?
I love Ralph Bakshi. Don Bluth is good.
Okay. So you love, yes, The Secret of NIMH, right? The Secret of NIMH. I'm thinking.
Yeah. Do not care for the Minions Pixar movies.
Oh, movies, the big Pixar ones, or what the Sony Pictures Animation.
Pixar had their heyday. They fell off a little bit, but
you're more discerning when it comes to your animation movies.
I think the problem with animation, especially like when it comes to award season, this had nothing to do with what we're talking about other than animation. It's like when they're like best animated movies of the year, and then all they look at is the movies made for children. It's like adults can watch them too. I'm like, Minions. I understand that adults can watch them. Just as kids can play with guns, they just normally don't.
Guns,
but then like
water guns,
stuff like Mad God or Last Days of Coney Island. Just like, well, no, we've never even heard of that stuff. We're talking about Minions and Pixar and whatever.
That's true.
What other crap DreamWorks pukes out. But I have no issues with animation on its face. I'm just saying I think people kind of overhype. They don't take animation seriously. Well, like the Wolf House. Wolf House is definitely animation. Wolf House is amazing.
Right.
Who talks about that? Nobody.
That's a good point, Eric. And I still haven't seen Wolf House. I believe that's on Apple TV, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Now, let's get to In Your Dreams, which is on Netflix starting Friday, November 14th. Quote, In Your Dreams is a comedy adventure about Stevie and her brother Elliot. They journey into the absurd landscape of their own dreams. If the siblings can withstand a snarky stuffed giraffe, zombie breakfast foods, and the Queen of Nightmares, the Sandman will grant them their ultimate dream come true, the perfect family. So what happens is Stevie and her brother Elliot, Elliot adores his big sister. The big sister does not adore Elliot too much because her baby brother, her younger sibling, shares a room with her. She wants her own independence from her baby brother, and he gets a lot of attention since he's the baby in the family. And their parents are not actually getting along because the father is a struggling musician whose wife used to be part of his band, but his wife needs to get a new job because they need money. So there's some financial problems within the family, and it's actually something that both the kids understand, and they're going through a little bit of their own frustration and trauma, and they go into this world of dreams to escape from their own reality. And in this land of dreams, there's this, I forgot the name, that snarky stuffed giraffe. I forgot what it was called, but he loves eating bologna.
Long neck.
Long neck. So I got to look up.
Long neck meat tube.
But that giraffe is played by, I think it's played by Craig Robinson, but In Your Dreams, directed by Alex Wu. And it says also the co-director. I got to look up the co-director as well, but the main director is Alex Wu. What's interesting is when you look up the word dreams, it has usually a positive connotation. There's nothing wrong with having dreams and ambition. But the way dreams are framed in this movie, it's a teaching lesson for kids of all ages, including this 53-year-old. Am I 53? No, this 50.
Eric Benson is the other director.
Thank you. Eric Benson is a co-director. Thank you, Eric Holmes, for that. So even someone who is like me, 54, I can get some value-added stuff from In Your Dreams. This is going back to Eric saying about some animation. They put them on a pedestal, but they're for kids, and that's fine. But what about movies that have let's spotlight movies that have sort of an adult theme to it, or maybe adults can find value in. And me as an adult, or close to an elderly human being, I found a lot of value for In Your Dreams because, I'm sorry? Yes, sir?
Nothing.
Oh, so I don't have
definitely that.
Okay, definitely that. So In Your Dreams, it's very interesting because dreams are fashioned, and this is not a spoiler, dreams can have its downside. Meaning, if you are stuck in your dreams, as opposed to trying to live in the now, live in the reality, and face your not just fears, but face the problems that you have and try to work your way through it, then you might be stuck in this dream world. And these are two kids. They're not psychoanalysts yet, but they're learning along the way the importance of, yes, having dreams, dreaming, but the importance of also living in the world where you're awake. Okay? So I think In Your Dreams is really a value-added experience. On a superficial level, the visuals, it's very immersive when they get into the dream state. A lot of times they're traveling into this different dimension via their beds, and the Sandman's interesting as well. And I'm not going to say what happens. There's some really cool twists regarding the Sandman and offering them dreams, their dreams to come true. And it's a really well done family movie. It's funny, it's heartwarming, but again, I really love the theme of what happens if you live in your dream state for too long, whether you're a kid, whether you are a young adult, or whether, especially if you're in my case, someone in their early 50s. And another thing, Eric, sometimes when you watch animated films, I don't know if it's happened to you. This is the first time this happened to me. You watch an animated film and maybe you remember something about your childhood because the actual animation or because if it's a kid's story, and it might give you a sort of a flashback to your own youth. And what happened to me is watching In Your Dreams, I remembered the bed I used to sleep in when I was a child. And I haven't thought about that bed for 40 some odd years. And that was a weird, surreal moment with In Your Dreams. It's just interesting. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that because you mentioned Sandman. And I was thinking that a short, like 10-minute short from 1990 something, The Sandman. It was like a claymation thing,
okay.
Paul Berry. And that gave me nostalgic. The short itself wasn't nostalgic because I saw it when we started the Find Your Film thing. But the feeling that short brought forth was nostalgic. Like certain fears and anxieties I had as a kid presented itself in that short, kind of what you're describing.
That's very interesting. I should definitely check out that short as well. It's called The Sandman from the 90s, right? It's what did you say? 10-minute
Paul
short?
Berry, The Sandman, 1991.
Okay, I should check it out. Maybe hunt it down on YouTube as well.
It's definitely on YouTube. That's where I saw it. I can't remember how I came across it, but I was glad I did. It was
very cool. Well, I hope a lot of people come across In Your Dreams, which again is on Netflix, Friday, November 14th. That means millions of people will get to watch this. I would like to know if a lot of people find that level of resonant thematic flavor to this, or maybe I was reading too much into it. But anyways, I actually interviewed Alex Wu today. I will put up that interview up on our other YouTube channel, Deepest Dream, and also on our Find Your Film podcast as well. So a lot of stuff that me and Eric have been doing, and this is one of those movies where I was so excited all week. I said, Eric, you must watch King Ivory, because if you and I don't talk about a movie together, where's the banter? And here we go. Eric Holmes watches King Ivory, and I don't live up to the bargain. I still haven't seen King Ivory because I had to watch.
We don't even need to punish you because your punishment is not having watched King Ivory.
That is my punishment. And I'm glad, though, because we were able to get In Your Dreams in this week, because it's a very interesting. Of course, it's not the indie project stuff that we usually cover on CinemAddicts, but there is a lot of wonderful stuff to glean from In Your Dreams. We'd love to hear what you guys think of the movie. Yes.
This means nothing to anybody else but me and my family, but Stevie and her brother Elliot. My brother's name is Steve Elliott Holmes. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, hey, it's Steve.
Very, very cool.
Filmmakers must know him. Probably not. It's coincidence, obviously, but that was a funny thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
voice acting.
This is content you come to CinemAddicts for. So
nice
you're
personal
welcome.
information. No, you're welcome. The cast includes Craig Robinson, Simu Leo, Kristen Milioti, I believe. And she was in the Penguin series, and she's a very good actress. But there's a whole bunch of Gia Caritas and a whole bunch of voice actors. But again, yeah, I really enjoyed it. My rating for In Your Dreams, 4 stars. 4 stars for In Your Dreams over at Netflix Friday, November 14th.
So half star better than the worst.
Oh, here we go with the Long Shadows. I stick by Long Shadows. I specifically said Long Shadows. The first hour is the worst Western I've ever seen in my life. And it just...
I'm not going to let you live it down.
Oh, so that's hilarious. Okay, so let's get comfortable, because after that traumatic exchange with Eric Holmes, I'm going to need to rest for a little bit, because I think I'm a funny person, but maybe I'm a little bit more serious. And maybe this movie called Serious People is a very serious subject matter. Maybe it's a drama. Maybe it's one of these indie dramas that Eric Holmes hates. Serious People. What kind of title is that? Serious People, Eric Holmes. What is it about? There is sort of a meta element to Serious People. You interviewed these filmmakers, Pascual Gutierrez, I believe, and the other person's name, I did not put
Mollenkausen.
Very good. Ben Mollenkausen. I did not put that in Google Doc. I apologize, but it's an indie film. It's a meta film. Eric, try to tell us what this is about, because this is very hard to explain.
Yeah. Yes. Guys, we're serious people here. Let's get serious about having some fun talking about it. At the heart, this movie's a comedy. It's mockumentary, I guess. It's weird because it's not really a mockumentary. The way it's shot feels like a documentary, but it's not presented as a documentary, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like they talk about cinema verite, but they talk about cinema verite when they talk about mockumentaries. This isn't that. This is just shot in a way that it feels real. So you're used to, oh, it feels real, must be a documentary. That's not quite what they're doing here. But regardless, the story is you got Pascual Gutierrez playing Pascual, and he's a music video director. And his wife is having a baby. And he got a opportunity to direct a video for Drake that's going to pay a lot of money. Drake's a big star. That's going to help out his career. Unfortunately, when they want to shoot the video is around the time that that's around the time of his wife's due date, his pregnant wife's due date. So she's like, well, you're not going to do the video, right? It's like, well, I mean, it's going to be good for my career. And she's like, well, that's my due date. Your child is going to be born that day. And I got to be here for it. So he gets this idea that he's like, well, let me think on it. We'll work something out. I'm not going to say no to it. I'm going to say yes to it, but we'll work something out. And so his idea is that he's going to find a lookalike to take his place as director. And so he doesn't have to be there at the shoot. He'll get everything set up, do all the stuff that they have to do. And then on the day of the shoot, his stunt double, or his director double, so to speak, is going to pass themselves off as him. And so where that plan fails, I mean, the obvious way that it would fail is you're not a director. You don't know who this guy is. He's just an actor playing you. How are they going to be able to do your job? So instead of spending time with his wife, having his double take over his job for him, he's spending all his time teaching his double how to be a director. So like the whole plan is just a bad idea off the jump, because the whole reason I did this is so you could take over for me and I could be with my wife. And now I got to spend all my time teaching you how to act appropriately, how to do the job, how to do this, that, and the other thing. And the wife's angry about it. And then it all comes to a head when we're on the day of the shoot. And Pascual's with his wife. Wait, no, that's not true. But anyway, Miguel is taking over as the director, and the whole shoot's just falling apart. You just see that he was not the guy for the job. And so this is like one of those movies that's like funny, but it's like do you ever see a movie that's supposed to be a comedy and you're just horrified at what's going on?
Yeah.
And then you go back and watch it again and you're like, oh, okay, I see the comedy now. But it was like the first time going through, it's like, no, this is not comedy at all. This is
uncomfortable humor.
This is uncomfortable. This is just a complete S show. But it's that kind of comedy. Like, I think the first time you watch this, I can't imagine many people like rolling over laughing their butts off. But I think on second viewing and third viewing, like once you get comfortable with the uncomfortableness of what this movie's presenting, it's going to be pretty funny to you. These are serious people. They made a serious movie. But yeah, it's interesting idea. I don't know that it fully works because like there's some aspects of it that kind of take a while to get to where it needs to go. But overall, this is not bad. This would probably be like it's a 3.5 now. I can see this bumping up to a 4 later. Regardless, it's a recommend for sure. I just think that this is one that's going to need a simmer for a bit, and then maybe even need a second viewing for it to like fully do what it needs to do.
This feels like if you're actually into something offbeat to watch, something that's
even if you're into something offbeat, I don't think it'll catch you right away. That's just it, because like the humor's so dry, and the humor is not like in your face, like, ha, look at us, we're being funny. It's the kind of situational comedy that might go over your head or under your nose or however you want to describe it.
Whereas the people who love
but then
humor,
once you watch it once and you watch it again, be like, oh, okay, I see where we're going now. Okay. So this is like right now it's a 3.5. I could watch it a second and third time, and this just goes up every time. It's one of those kind of movies.
Okay, so that is Serious People, directed by Pascual Gutierrez, I believe. And Ben, wait, is he the director? And then Mulcason is they both directed
it? Ben's not in the movie at all.
But he's Ben, co-director?
Yeah. So Miguel, because it's not a documentary, it's not a mockumentary. Right. It just feels like it is. And the weird thing is, like, you look at like everyone who's like, you look at the IMDb. Pascual Gutierrez plays Pascal. Miguel Huerta plays Miguel. Brandon Capelao plays Brandon. So it's like, oh, this is just a documentary. And then you realize that when Drake shows up, oh, that's not Drake. Okay, this is not a documentary at all. This is just a thing. It's a really interesting movie. It's real, but it's not. I don't even know how to describe this. Actually, yeah, I do. Andy Kaufman. Okay. You know how Andy Kaufman, like, his comedy is not obvious that it's comedy right away? Right. Like when he was doing the wrestling with women thing.
Yeah, the comedy.
Like, he just came off as a jerk. It wasn't apparent that he was playing a joke on everyone. That's kind of where this is. Like, it's not immediately apparent that this is supposed to be a comedy, but it is. So that's probably why it's going to take people time to ease into what it's doing. And now I just talked myself up to a 4 star. But I'll say a 3.5, but I'm already talking myself up to a 4 stars.
Again, it's directed by Pascual Gutierrez. I'm looking at my phone right now, and Ben Mulcason, and the writer is Pascual Gutierrez. Very interesting movie. 3.5 stars.
I think there's going to be many people that watch this and don't like it right off the jump. There's going to be people that, like, I can see Anderson or Avery watching this and just latching onto it right away. But I can see other people watching this going, this is stupid. Like, I don't get it. Like, how is this a comedy? Then just let it sit for a while. Go back to it. Give it another shot. Okay, I see a couple funny parts. All right, well, give it a week. Go back to it again. Okay, I see where they're going. Like, it's going to be, it's a grower, not a shower. There you go.
Grower, not a shower. That is Serious People. Eric Holmes gave it 3.5 stars specifically for this movie.
Specifically now. That'll probably change later on.
Yeah, the movie Serious People opens theatrically specifically now, which is tomorrow, in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles this Friday, November 14th. It's specifically, again, I said that again, playing at the Lamley Glendale in LA, but there's a regional theatrical expansion coming up in the coming weeks. If you do not want to see it in the theater, you can wait for its VOD release, which is going to be on December 16th. So we should start marking stuff when they come out on VOD, because maybe the week of December 16th, shower, not a grower, grower, not a shower, we need to mention Serious People is coming out on VOD that week. So please make a note of that, Eric. That would be nice, because this is one of these movies that maybe, like Eric said, maybe not a lot of people will absolutely love this movie, but there might be some people who really dig. You can see Serious People.
If I would implore anyone to give a movie that you don't like a second shot, like, assuming if you watch this Serious People and you like land on it right away, great, wonderful, did its job. If you watch Serious People and you're like, I don't know, just give us some time, Why choke the movie down, give it some time, then go back to it later on and see if it kind of worms its way into you. Because I think I'm almost positive that this is a movie that won't grab people right away, but will grab people later on. And I can't explain why that is. I feel that way about this movie.
Okay, that is serious, people. Remember, December 16th, it's on VOD. Tomorrow, on November 14th, LA, and then expanding to different cities in the coming weeks. Speaking on VOD, and before we get to another review, on November 21st, there is a digital release, Eric, of this Lionsgate film called Anniversary. Should people watch Anniversary when it hits digital?
Yes, watch it right away. And again, if you hate it, that's fine. You're allowed to be wrong about things. I'm wrong about things all the time. Not about Anniversary, but I'm wrong. But
we both loved it.
I'm wrong about Serious People right now. I'm not going to be right about Serious People until I saw it a third or fourth time.
We're not getting into politics, but there is this running controversy that Anniversary might have been buried. And I feel, because Eric and I love this movie so much, no matter what side of the aisle you are in, I still feel that this will be appreciated no matter what your political affiliation is. This is a very good movie, and it posits some very interesting political, social stuff, Eric, right?
I've since listened to Bruce's review, and I get what he's saying. I do not agree about that it's toothless or gutless or whatever.
No, that was Bruce. He was talking about himself. Bruce was talking about himself.
No, he was.
I was kidding.
I agree, sort of, just because I don't think it takes much guts to speak out against authoritarianism.
Yes,
but the kind of setup of it, like, I just disagree with him that the movie doesn't have teeth.
Mm.
He never really said that. He said it was gutless.
I think he was talking about him not having teeth because he's getting older. I'm not having teeth too. I have.
He brought up that this is the kind of movie that it's not going to speak to the people it's meant to. Absolutely agree with that.
Oh, okay. Well, no, Eric,
because that's usually how movies like this work. It's like, this is a great warning to all these people, but the people that need to hear it the most will just ignore it. So, in that regard, yes, I agree with
Eric,
Bruce 100%.
Eric,
that does not mean that this Anniversary is fantastic, because I think the movie is fantastic.
The movie's amazing, and I totally disagree with you.
Same with Don't Look Up. It's a fantastic movie. Got its point across. It was one of the critiques of it was the movie's too obvious. Yeah, because we're still doing the same crap all the time, and we're not learning the lesson. We are stupid. We need you to spell it out to us in crayon, please, and read it to us slowly, because we're not freaking getting it.
Eric was mentioning,
movies need to be obvious because we're dumb and we need movies to be obvious.
And Eric and I both love this movie. I will disagree with Eric because I feel that moviegoers from both sides of the aisle will appreciate Anniversary. For example, I'm a far right. I'm as mega as they come, and I love Anniversary. So I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Eric. I'm just saying.
People say that like something's too obvious.
Right.
We elected Trump twice.
And
we need obvious messages spelled out to us and read slowly before we go to bed.
Okay, and that that's Eric's thoughts on this, and my thought being a very apolitical, populist human being, both sides of the aisle. But Eric, listen to what Eric has to say too. So the most important thing is you take Eric's comments, you take my comments.
For the Republicans out there, we elected Biden once, which was one time too many.
See,
we need this stuff spelled out to us in crayon. So before we go to bed,
moviegoers, cinephiles, CinemAddicts listeners, tell us your thoughts on Anniversary. Does it go the safe route, which Bruce is saying, or do you love it as much as me and Eric? Tell us what you think about Anniversary when it hits specifically. Again, that word on November 21st. You need to see this movie. Very interesting. We have a couple more movies to get to.
This is a long episode, and I hope you guys are appreciating it, because we're going to go all night long.
Eric, when are you leaving? You have 20 more minutes, right? Don't you have like 30 minutes? Wait, really? Oh, you have. Okay, so you have time.
Eric. An hour and 20 minutes.
Okay, we'll make it hopefully within that time. Next up is this movie. I was saying, Eric, how can you watch a movie that's 130 minutes? That movie being King Ivory. Well, I actually, for the first time this week, because Eric is doing all the work here on CinemAddicts and Bruce Purkey as well, because Bruce Purkey saw an actual series, all 8 episodes for that, his review of The Beast in Me, which is coming up in a few moments. But I topped Eric regarding movie length this week. 2 hours and 43 minutes, Eric. I saw this movie called Kaantha last night, Kantha, Indian film. Quote, releasing worldwide on November 14th, Kaantha is a yes, sir. Yes, sir, Combs.
Oh, go ahead and read the description. Once you're done, I have one question before you start your review.
Oh, very good. Releasing worldwide on November 14th, Kaantha is a visually rich period noir drama thriller set in 1950s post-colonial Madras in India. Stars Dulquer Salman, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Samu Thirikani, and Bhagyarashi Borse. And these are all big stars. Okay, and I apologize for mispronouncing the names. It's directed by Selva Selvanaj, who I interviewed last night. The film explores the complex relationship between a legendary director and a rising actor. This actor is played by Dulquer, and who's that Samu Tarakani is the director. And it's this director who saw this rising star, this young actor, as his son. They were like a father and son, but there's a falling out. A huge falling out. And now the director, he is still revered, but he's not as powerful as he was before, while his, I guess his surrogate son, who's now a big star, has all the power, but they don't get along anymore. But the problem is this director needs that estranged star to work on his film, because that's how the film will get financing. That's how the studio that the director works for will hopefully get out of debt. So they have this movie, at least for almost the first half of the movie, or a little bit more than half the movie, deals with the making of the film as the director and the rising star, or the huge star, they come to a lot of disagreements while making this movie. So Eric, this movie, Kaantha, is very rich in detail, period detail from the 1950s, but it's also a beautiful, immersive look at the making of a movie, taken from the POV of an actor, POV of the director. Both of them have huge egos. And then caught in the middle is that actress, Bhagyashiri Bors, and she is the young actress who's up and coming, and she has loyalty to the director, but she finds herself being attracted to the actor as well. So she's caught between these two men. These two men hate each other. It's an interesting triangle, all within the milieu, or all within that universe of filmmaking. So if you're a cinephile and you love to see, like Eric likes to say, how the sausage is made, this is fun to watch a movie being made about a movie being made. So it's very meta. But then the second half of the movie, it turns into a different situation. And I'm not going to get into what happens, but there is a very tragic event which leads to an investigation to a murder. Okay. And this murder has reverberations. And I apologize again, my video, DJ Osmo, I hate you guys so much. It's ridiculous. Hold on one second, Eric. So yeah, what happens is this whole thing is this murder mystery thing happens in the second half of the movie. And it was a movie about making movies. And then it becomes a movie about, it becomes a movie about a murder. And that I thought was very interesting. Here, let's see if it goes. Can you see me okay? Let's see.
Yeah.
1 second. Let me just see. 1 second. Sorry, folks. Sorry, listeners. I'm just trying to get everything cool here. And then face track enabled. I hate you, DJ Osmo Pocket 3. I will not put your Amazon link on my thing. So here's okay. So yeah.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
We're in a room, both of us, and there's a huge elephant, and that elephant is 2 hours and 43 minutes long. Explain yourself. Not you explain yourself, but movie. Why is the movie 2 hours and 43 minutes long, and how does it earn that runtime? Because right. I understand that like movies are big, they're sprawling, that they can do all sorts of things. And there's some movies that can get away with it. And then there's other movies, Cough, The Brutalist, try to get through it, did. Sorry.
That was my favorite last year. Yeah, you and I
But there's movies where it's like, you're just killing time. You're just burning time, dude. Like you're not using, You're asking me to watch. You're asking me for 3 hours of my time. Earn it, or earn it or burn it. And most of the time, they burn it.
Right. And I'm gonna read the last. Well, I guess the last sentence of this plot synopsis. Kaantha promises a, quote, gripping, immersive cinematic experience that blends emotion, tension, and spectacle. And that ultimately boilerplate answers your question. It is worth the running time because the production design is very good. The visual stuff is very immersive. The acting is on point. And you get 2 movies for the price of 1. So it feels like watching 2 movies because that first movie.
King Ivory did all this in a fraction of the time. So what I'm asking is why the 3 hour? Because I think a lot of people are like, dude, 3 hours. You need to sell me on this because I am not there for it.
It's the same thing, sort of. Okay, so very interesting. The director, Selva, I asked him what movie inspired him, and his favorite movie, one of his all-time favorite movies, is Seven Samurai. And then he went on and said Akira Kurosawa is his favorite movie. And yeah, he also added that filmmakers moving forward, past and present, they're just mirror reflections of the master. He called Akira Kurosawa. I love Akira, so I'm not going to disagree with that, right? You're not a Kurosawa fan?
I am. I think it's a god awful explanation for why a movie needs to be 3 hours long. But Kurosawa did it, so I decided to pad my movie out to make it 3 hours long too. Well, when I'm asking Greg, why is this movie 3 hours long? Well, not why Seven Samurai is 3 hours long.
Well, the reason why Seven Samurai is 3 hours long, I'm going to round about that, is it's an epic film. This movie, Kaantha, is an epic film. It demands that scope, just like a Quentin Tarantino PTA film demands that. Well, you don't agree with one battle after another, but certain films deserve that scope. Kaantha is epic filmmaking. Almost of the highest order. I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's a really beautiful film, and it hits almost basically it's pretty much a homer, and it could grow up to 5 stars for me. I was thinking the same thing you were asking. Why is this movie close to 3 hours?
Yes,
and it wasn't a slog. I was not bored one moment. I was surprised. I was locked in from the initial moment. First of all, because it didn't feel like 3 hours. Second of all, I love the theme of the story about, I can't give too much away. It's really about...
give stuff away because it's 3 hours. I think a lot of people aren't going to watch it unless
this movie's going to be a huge hit internationally. It'll be interesting to see how it does in the States, if it will do really well. It's just one of those things where I feel if you like movies about making movies and it also has that murder mystery whodunit element, it's, again, an epic film, 2 movies for the price of 1. It's beautiful. Again, I saw it on my television. I wish I actually saw it on the big screen. The publicist working on this movie said, "Oh, we're showing it tonight at LA Live." I didn't respond back to him. LA Live is in downtown LA, and I used to live in downtown LA. If I lived in downtown LA and I was much younger, I would have seen this movie on the silver screen for 3 hours. That's how much I love the movie. I would have seen it again. And so for me,
so what you're saying is that it's got the movie of a movie. It's got the murder mystery. It's basically got a bunch of different stuff that kind of keeps that they don't have 10 minutes of the door closing.
No, they do not have 10 minutes of the door. Everything is moving.
They don't have a long establishing shot to let you just take in the scenery for right now.
Yeah, this director
not a lot of extraneousness is what I'm getting.
Exactly. Yeah, this movie directed by Selvaraj is just so good. And I'm excited to see what he does in the future. But as of now, it'll be hard for him to top this because this is a magnum opus type of movie. It's really well done. And it'll be, again, it hits theaters on Friday, November 14th. I'm sure fans of Indian cinema will gravitate towards Kaantha. I would like to see how well it does internationally because this is a beautiful looking movie. And I got this movie last minute, Eric, and I got this interview last minute as well. I'm just really excited to see how this movie does. 4.5 stars, 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. Thank you for your very interesting question.
I'm sorry I had to push so hard on it, but when I hear 3 hours, I'm like, you need to
No,
You need to explain yourself right away. Like
100%.
the new James Cameron Avatar movie is going to be like nearly 4 hours long.
Yeah, not why. No,
Like,
no, no
dude,
way.
you're making 7 of them. Why does this one need to be 4 hours long? You got like 14 other movies to tell the rest of the story. Like,
Speaking of telling stories, Eric, we have Mitch Burns, who is actually heading up our weekly Cinematics Movie Club, wanted to actually promote our movie club over at Cinematics. This week, we're covering the movie Shattered, which I picked. And after this recording, I have to watch tonight as well. I have to, right? Eric, you don't have to. Bruce Purkey already watched Shattered. So Shattered is currently streaming on Prime Video. If you want to be part of our weekly Cinematics Movie Club,
what year did that come out?
oh, I think it was
Is that Wolfgang Peterson?
Yes, Wolfgang Peterson.
Oh, with
yeah. Tom Berenger. Yeah.
Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And then Greta Scacchi. Yeah. So I'm going to see that tonight, later on tonight after I'm done editing.
Hour
editing
and 38 minutes, not 4 hours long.
They're not 4 hours long. So 98 minutes. I can swing that tonight. But again, thank you, Mitch Burns, for your yeoman's work over at the Cinematics Movie Club. Just join our Cinematics Facebook group. And then from there, you can actually join our Cinematics Movie Club. On my end, I give away a DVD or Blu-ray every week to members of our club for just participating. And what we do in our movie club is each week, one of our members, we go by alphabetical order, by the way, one of our members, that's why we're on the letter S this week, and my pick is Shattered. Every week, a member picks a movie for us to watch. And then starting on Fridays, we start talking about said movie until through the weekend. And then we go on to the next person. I forgot, Eric, what was the movie that you picked?
Oh, Dear Man Now, Stem Iceman.
Oh, I'm sorry, Eric. I haven't seen Iceman. There's a couple of weeks.
Fine. I've been, since I got back from LA, I've been like way behind on the cinematic thing, so I got to catch up on those.
Yeah, check out Mitch Burns over at the Hollywood Persona as well. He does his own podcast.
I keep trying to catch up, and they keep giving me like interviews and stuff. So I'm like, I got to watch like 14 movies. And people ask me, I was like, oh, you should check out this TV series. I'm like, literally have no time.
Exactly. And plus you have a full-time job, Eric. So it's one of these things. Eric and I watch a ton of movies. This is not taking anything from Bruce Purkey. He has a full-time job as well. And he watches just as much as we do. So
yeah,
3 people who at the end of every week watch so much stuff, and we regurgitate all that stuff to the Cinematics podcast, this is now our longest episode ever. Eric's,
I would say that like my friend Zoe, like he watches the Law and Order.
Oh,
Usually
right.
SVU, Hargitay Network. I'll watch episodes of Law and Order when I'm at his place just because he's watching it. But I'm not watching Law and Order when I'm as much as I enjoy watching it with him at his place. That's not something I put on because when I'm at home watching stuff, I'm watching stuff for the podcast. So
Exactly.
TV shows out, cannot do them. Do not have time for them.
Again, Kaantha, 4.5 out of 5 stars, hitting theaters November 14th. Please give this one a shot if it's playing at your local theater, and hit us up and tell us what you think of this movie. We're going to have to cut a couple of movie stuff this week. We're going to cut out Predator, Badlands, some of our rewinds.
Frankenstein, real quick. Frankenstein, he's pretty close to the book. Takes more time on the stuff that it shouldn't, and doesn't take enough time on the things it should. Predator, Badlands.
Wait. No. Were you disappointed with Frankenstein ultimately?
I thought that they got like all the beats from the book. I just think that the stuff that they spent time on, they should have spent less time on. And the thing that they barely spent any time on, they should have spent more time. Like Frankenstein or the creature rather, having Frankenstein turn his back on him, and then him being ostracized by the community, and then having to learn stuff like with that family where he's like kind of listening in through the wind or through the wall or whatever. That should have taken longer because that's him. That's what the creature does. He's born into a world that hates him, and we don't get that in this. And that's because they didn't spend enough time on the stuff that they should have spent time on. The whole reason Dr. Frankenstein wanted to make the creature was because he put all his eggs in the alchemy basket. And he was basically a scientist that was like, you're a quack. We're not going to believe you about anything. They didn't spend hardly any time on that in the movie. And they just spent, again, they had all the beats from the book, but they didn't spend enough time on the things that they should have. They just brushed by them. and they spent like a ton of time on the stuff that didn't matter.
Okay, what was your rating on Frankenstein?
I'd probably give it three stars.
Ooh, interesting.
Slightly better than the Kenneth Branagh one. Actually, much better than the Kenneth Branagh one. But
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, right?
Yeah, we still. I mean, Mary Shelley wrote a badass book, and someone should make that one these days.
I remember you loving that book so much, and yeah. So what you're telling me is Crimson Peak is better than Frankenstein.
No, I like Frankenstein better than Crimson. I did not like Crimson Peak at all. And I could not tell you one thing about that movie if you paid me, and I watched the whole thing twice.
Yeah, well, then I guess you're telling me that Pacific Rim is better than Frankenstein.
Yes, I do love Pacific Rim.
So you're telling me that Pan's Labyrinth is better than Frankenstein?
Although the Frankenstein movie, the opening scene, the whole thing with them up until they start going into Dr. Frankenstein's story, that whole like opening was freaking cool as hell. And then there were some science bits with Dr. Frankenstein, like going through the lymph system and like doing science. Like there was some of that was really cool. That there was a bunch of good stuff in it, but like overall, like the emotional weight of what Frankenstein's creature is dealing with, that they could, and that's the whole point of the book. They didn't do that justice.
I am having a feeling. I saw Predator Badlands over the weekend. I loved it. I'm a homer when it comes to these Dan Trachtenberg Predator films. I don't know if you loved it as much as I did. You might have found some fault with Predator Badlands. What did you think of the movie overall?
I liked it. I wasn't like, I've heard some people like over the moon about it. I wasn't quite like, oh, best movie of the year, but I think it was a fun Predator movie. I still liked the first two stories of Killer of Killers more. But it got more into the Predator lore, which I appreciated.
Nice twist to it, yeah.
The third act fell apart for me. The alien sort of
crossover.
Not even Easter eggs. It was like this movie's firmly set in the alien world as well. I dug that. It didn't feel like fan service. It felt like natural. They put it in natural. Probably because what the hell's her name? The main character. Elle Fanning. Yeah. How the hell did I forget her name? Elle Fanning, she was great in this. And the fact that she's like an android, like, I mean, this is basically an Alien versus Predator movie without being an Alien versus Predator movie. And the story of just knowing a little bit of Predator lore that I know, the fact that this main Predator is kind of the runt of the group, and his brother like gives his life because he sees potential in his brother. It's like, I know that our culture means we should just kill you and get rid of you, but I know you can prove yourself, and I'm going to put my life on the line and allow you to do that. And that kind of adds stakes to something that would otherwise just be a stupid action movie. So Predator Badlands, not bad, much better than Predator movies tend to be. And Dan Trachtenberg seems pretty good. I wish that he would go back to other non-Predator movies, but overall, not bad.
4.5 for me. What about you?
I'll go 4 stars on this one.
4 stars from Eric Holmes for Predator Badlands. Now let's close out with some reviews of 2 movies. Eric, I apologize. The Carpenter's Son, I requested it. I saw the name Nicolas Cage. This sounds like a very big movie.
I had to change my pants immediately.
Exactly. And I realized that I actually had the screener link all week, but I didn't get to it. I just found out today. I thought we didn't have the link, but we do.
Yeah.
And let me just get into right now to help you out a little bit with the reviews, and you did all the legwork. Quote, a remote village in Roman-era Egypt explodes into spiritual warfare when a carpenter, his wife, and their child are targeted by supernatural forces in The Carpenter's Son. Joseph, played by Nicolas Cage, Mary, FKA Twigs, and their teenage son, Jesus, Noah Jupe, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, I could be wrong, have lived for years under threat, clinging to their faith and traditions, but a stopover in a small settlement unleashes growing chaos when a mysterious stranger, played by Isla Johnston, tries to entice young Jesus to a bed. Okay, good.
It's Joseph married Jesus story.
Oh, okay. To
Biblical.
Abandon his devout father's rules. Okay, it's a Jesus married Joseph story. The movie comes out in theaters November 14th. I had no idea, Eric. Does this movie work?
It does. I mean, it's called The Carpenter's Son. Like early, I think the biggest knock I can give against this movie is that it's trying to be coy about what it is. Ooh, maybe it's Jesus. Ooh, we're gonna hint that this is Nicolas Cage is playing Joseph. Ooh, FK Twigs. Maybe she's Mary. Maybe who knows? Ooh, is the Carpenter's Son? Is that Jesus or is that something else? No, this is a biblical movie, but it's similar to the shorts we talked about last week, the Tales from the Woods. This is like a dark version of it, or like a think of Brightburn.
Yeah.
Brightburn's a story of Superman, but what if Superman was evil? How would that play out? This is like a really dark biblical story of Jesus coming of age.
Eric, Rotten Tomatoes 30%. Yikes.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
What's your reaction to that?
Hold on. What? Hold on.
I'm not kidding you on this.
No. Find one of the bad reviews on there.
Okay.
Just find a random one and just kind of look it over.
All right.
Does it have anything to do with this is not what our Lord had intended?
Oh, interesting. We'll see what it says.
Just pick a random bad review. Just anything less than 4 stars.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you right now, 1 out of 5 stars from the New York Times. From the Mercury News. No, let's see. Yeah, keep on doing your review, and I'll read it.
Anywho, this is just a dark tale from the Bible. Is all it is, and not much more to it than that. But as a horror movie, kind of works. You're doing biblical stuff. There's a bunch of magic and supernatural stuff that happens within that.
Is it exciting? There's a good action.
Yeah, because action not so much, but like you'll have like the serpent. They talk about the serpent in the Bible from Adam and Eve. Like someone will be like, and they'll like this snake will like just start coming out of their mouth. It's got a bunch of really cool imagery. It's not incredibly bloody, but like the scenes that they have are more like grotesque than they are gory, if that makes sense.
Right.
There's some gore in there for sure, but there's not like again with the snake crawling out of the mouth is just kind of like ugh. The movie we watched last week with the choking up the crows.
The Beldam.
Yeah, the Beldham.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
Check that movie. That movie's really good.
I still haven't put it up on our YouTube. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm just so behind on content. But Eric and I both loved it. We did a spoiler review, and I still have to pick it.
Regardless, Carpenter's Son's got a lot of stuff like that, where it's not like the Beldham isn't really like
it's straight ahead.
But the stuff that happens is just kind of makes you go, ugh. It just gets under your skin. It's got a lot of that kind of thing.
I'm looking at a review right now at the Wrap, and the writer is not a faith-based writer.
Oh, is it Bibbiani? William Bibbiani?
No, I don't know who it is, but oh, excellent, Eric. Very good. William Bibbiani. He says it's a misguided biblical horror movie. Do you feel that this movie is misguided? Does it work for you?
No.
Carpenter's.
No. Which is weird because I'm familiar with William Bibbiani, and it's weird that I would expect William Seibel to say that because they're on the podcast together, but yeah, I don't think it's misguided. I think it's just, hey, we're gonna take a story from the Bible and just do like a dark horror version of it.
And it's interesting. They make it interesting. Am I missing out by not watching the link or watching this movie?
I think a little bit. I see it's where you're picking up regular critics, because I thought you were talking about like the score was like I guess the movie's not out yet, so you wouldn't have an audience score. I was expecting something like this to get such a low review because Christians would be like, this is not the God that I follow, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
This movie's blasphemous. I thought that's what it was going, but it sounds like not. I don't know why people are knocking on it. I would say it goes on a little long.
Mm-hmm.
Probably could have used a little bit of a haircut. But overall, hey, Jesus is the Son of God. He's going to do some effed up things for playing this stuff for real. The Isla Johnson,
yeah.
the mysterious stranger.
Yeah.
You can cut this out if it's a spoiler. I don't think it's a spoiler. This is as much of a spoiler as a movie called The Carpenter's Son is. Oh, it's really about Jesus. It's like, oh yeah, I had no idea that's where you're going with this. Yeah, maybe it is a spoiler. But yeah, okay, I will say that later on, Satan shows up. Who knows who that could be?
Oh, they're very, very good. Well,
that's
a miss. Well, I guess
there's some ridiculousness in this for sure. And it does get crazy, but it doesn't quite get Mandy crazy. But it's a fun dark take on a story that people put way too much weight on. Let's have some fun with these stories, I think. Because like the biblical stories, like I don't believe that is real. I do not believe Adam and Eve. I do not believe Jesus was a real person that blah 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 rose from the dead. Do not believe any of that, but they're still fun stories. And
Right.
anytime anyone makes a movie about those stories, they always do it with this like reverence, like, oh, he was the son of God. Oh, he was the perfect man. And blah. Like this kind of takes the idea of like Last Temptation of Christ, but just like we're gonna go freaking B movie on this. And
Okay.
that's where the Carpenter's Son is.
Very,
And
very good.
that's what I'm digging about it.
That sounds enticing, actually. So, what is your rating on The Carpenter's Son in theaters November 14th?
I will go 4 stars on the, you know what? 3 banger.
3-star banger for the
Because if you're like a devout Christian or Catholic, this movie's going to come out. This movie's going to come across as straight up blasphemy to you, and you're going to absolutely hate it. But if you're in for,
look, I'll be fair. I'm Catholic, but I can like movies like this. So it's not sounds
Jesus, or I'm sorry, the Carpenter's Son, whoever that could be, who knows? But the Carpenter's Son is not a pious figure in this.
Okay, interesting.
And
I'd like to see
so there are going to be people that like, and I'm not talking about like the I'm a Catholic, I'm Christian, I guess, because my parents were. This was like I've dedicated my life to this. This movie will offend you for sure.
Okay, well,
but
sounds like a warning.
But that's why I give you a 3-star banger. If you're like me, you don't give a crap and don't believe any of that, but you're just watching like, oh, we'll watch a biblical story that kind of takes itself as a B movie and just like really goes for it. Like it pretty good, I think.
Interesting.
But apparently not. But it's where they read part of Will Bibiani's review. I'm curious to read more of that.
Well, in fairness, it currently has a 30% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, so it'll be
that didn't surprise me because I thought people would be offended by it. And the reviews that you read and the stuff that you cited does surprise me.
Interesting. So that is a recommendation from Eric Holmes for The Carpenter's Son. I definitely have to see this movie as well. We're ending the show. Well, our portion of the show, because Bruce Purkey is coming up with a movie called Trap House. Quote, a game of cat and mouse ensues when an undercover DEA agent and his partner learn that their own teenage children are using top secret tactics and intelligence to steal from a dangerous cartel. Directed by Michael Dowse. And the actors include Dave Bautista, Jack Champion, Sophia Lillis, Tony Dalton, Bobby Cannavale. Oh, very good. I like that. I like Kate Del Castillo. Has a good cast. Is it? It sounds like a fun empty calories type of action thriller, or what is it? A family movie? I didn't even know. Trap House. Eric, help me out here.
You would think, but it's where that a game of cat and mouse ensues when an undercover DEA agent and his partner learn that their own teenage children are using top secret tactics. They don't learn that till the end of the movie.
Oh my goodness! Look at that plot synopsis. Very good.
So, not Greg's fault. So apparently that's out there. But the audience knows right away that this is what's going on. So that's not a big spoiler. So we're fine there. But yeah, you have this is similar to King Ivory, and then it's drug cop kind of thriller taken from different points of view as the story goes on. The difference here is this one's a little more light, a little bit, but it doesn't go as broad comedy as you think it might, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it starts off with Dave Bautista, who, by the way, Dave Bautista, he's freaking awesome. Kind of like if this was Dave Bautista doing like a B movie action movie, I'd be all about it. And it almost starts off that way, but then once they do that, the first, what do you call it, raid, I guess, and they find that underground tunnel, they go through there and find out that the tunnel is like rigged with like a bunch of bombs and stuff, and they make their way out of it, except for one guy. One of their team dies, and then at school you follow Dave Bautista's son, and then he's friends with other kids at his school, as you do. But the other kids at his school are also children of DEA agents or just cops in general. And one of the people that died was one of the kids' friends. That was their dad. And so they're a non-binary actor, which is cool that they got them in this. They're like, well, dad's dead. The death benefits are crap. We don't know what to do, so we're gonna have to move out. We can't afford to live here, and we gotta figure out something to do. So all the kids get together. The Dave Bautista's son, he decides that, hey, we have all this information on this trap house. They have money at this trap house. I got my dad's intel. Let's just break into this trap house, take the money, and then use that to help our friend out. And they do that, and they end up getting like 400 some bucks out of it. But it inspired, like it went relatively well. Even though they didn't get much money, it went relatively well. And they gave the friend started like a GoFundMe thing.
Right.
They gave it to their friend anonymously, and they're like, well, it worked out good enough. Maybe we try this again because I got more information from my dad's connections that we find something else to do this with. Meanwhile, on Dave Bautista's side, they find, oh, this trap house just got raided. Like, what the hell? Like, they can't figure it out because they're like, well, there's these dead bodies. I'm like, no, these dead bodies happen later. Like, what happened to the house? Like, they're using like beanbag shotguns shells. Who uses that? We do. Oh, is this an inside job? It's like, it's not me. It's not, I don't think it's you. Like, basically the information that they're getting tells them that this is something that police are doing, but they look into it and nothing lines up. They have no idea that it's their own kids doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the cops are looking not only for the drug cartels, but they're also looking for this gang of thieves robbing certain drug areas, not knowing that it's their own kids doing it.
That's funny.
And then so it goes on and goes to its logical conclusion. It's a really funny and interesting premise, and they play a lot with it. I think at the end, it doesn't, it ends a little too cleanly, but given how cops are in real life, it doesn't surprise me. So maybe it's a realistic ending. But overall, this is a really good movie, probably 4-star movie. It's not nearly as dumb as you might think going in. It's actually clever in a lot of spots. It's just I wish that ending would well, there's two different versions. There's the ending that we got, which is the ending you would expect. You just don't know how they're going to get there. And then there's the ending that's realistic, where it's like probably maybe too much of a bummer for people to watch. But overall, Trap House, definitely worth a watch. Check it out.
Okay, that's Eric's review of Trap House. We are done. It's 4 stars from Eric Holmes, and I would recap the show, but this is our longest episode on CinemAddicts. I think, Eric, almost 2 hours with me and you, and then Bruce. Yes, I think
we did it.
This feels like an episode of the Film Vault, because usually they go 2 hours on there.
We trapped you in our house.
Exactly. Very good.
You, the Carpenter's son.
Yes.
All you serious people. And
there's
even
murders
King
at the
Ivory
end.
came in.
Oh, yes.
It was what you dreamt of. It was in your dreams the whole time.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Eric did a very good way of piecing everything together. Bump. And then that's it. You want to say anything before you get out of here? And by the way, wish Eric a good time tonight at work, because he's has a full-time gig and he's working really hard.
Yeah, check out the interview with Michael Jai White. See if you can point out the parts where I poop myself. And I check out the Photographic Justice, the Corky Lee story. Great documentary out.
And More Than Santa. More Than Santa, baby. Yeah.
More Than Santa. And Greg's going to put up the thing. They'll tell you. Actually, look up More Than Santa Baby Doc if you're getting this before you can see the thing. If it's playing in your area, go check it out, because, yeah, Philip Springer will be there playing some songs. Dude's 99 years old, still kicking.
It's amazing, dude. Amazing.
It's a great Christmas song. It's that time of year, so go check it out.
Okay, so that is it. Eric is off to work. Hopefully, maybe 30 minutes to relax, and I
got about another hour before I leave.
Oh, good. Very, very. Eric, do you have any interviews next week? Eric doesn't know yet.
I do, but I don't have them in front of me. And we'll talk about it.
This is what happens with me and Eric. Eric, for several days, so this is now, we're taping on Thursday. I think we should tape on Thursday. We'll tape next Thursday again, Eric.
We'll tape on Wednesdays, but when something goes wrong, we always have Thursday to fall back on.
Okay, fair. So then now that we're signing off, then Eric is going to work really hard the rest of the week. And then he won't get to a lot of the movies until maybe that Tuesday or maybe that Monday when he has some time off. All that said is Bruce Purkey gets to these movies a lot quicker than me and Eric. But towards the end of the week, towards the end of our week, which is that now it's Thursday, but when towards Tuesday and Wednesday, we start getting slammed with new movies coming out that week. So what we thought were maybe 2 or 3 movies we might cover becomes maybe 4 or 5. Just what happened this week, though, I had maybe 4 or 5 movies for us to cover, and I told Eric maybe just you and I will talk about one movie, and then maybe Eric will have another one of his movies. Maybe we were going to cover 3, and we ended up covering 8 movies, not including Eric's recommendations and Bruce's stuff.
And I think the worst one this week was probably Frankenstein. And hey, if that's the worst movie I'm going to see this week,
yeah, and up. Whatever happens, just listen to what Eric says. We've been working really hard the last 2 weeks. Don't worry about it. The onus is not on you. Just know with all the movies that we covered the last couple of weeks, Eric said, screw them all and just watch Long Shadows, right? Long Shadows? Is that the...
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
That's just me and my delirium. Okay, and I apologize. Thank you guys so much for your support here.
I will say, and I said this last week, I'll say it again. Dermot Mulroney's character in Long Shadows, and then the
we love Dermot.
Name.
Wait. In Long Shadows, what? There's Dermot Mulroney. Who else is in it?
The pair, the madam and the pimp.
Oh, right. Yes, Catherine Deneuve and the Dominic Monaghan.
Yes,
very great actors.
Those 2 are great characters in Long Shadows. Dermot Mulroney's character in Long Shadows, and even whoever made Long Shadows, make that movie. I want to see Dermot Mulroney's character from Long Shadows have his own movie.
And again, one of the goals for CinemAddicts is eventually Eric Holmes may get to interview Dermot Mulroney, and that's going to be like the Michael Jai White.
Hey, that movie sucked. In. Can we get?
Can we get Dermot Mulroney? No,
I'm not going to do that. I love Dermot Mulroney.
We love Dermot. All right, and we love you.
That's how good he is. He was in a movie that was bad, but his character was freaking awesome.
Yes, he's amazing. We love Dermot Mulroney, and we love you guys over at CinemAddicts. Hey, don't leave yet because we got some more stuff to cover. Here's Bruce Purkey over at the Cinematic.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Cinematic Attic of Cinema. How y'all doing? I got a few interesting things for you this week. First of all, not movie related, I did do about an hour-long conversation with my brother on his YouTube channel he's called The Observer on YouTube. If you look up The Observer, John Purkey, you should find the right one because there's more than one Observer on YouTube. He's been doing stuff for a long time. He does a lot of stuff around kind of just personal life, and also a lot of stuff around Northwest music because he has a pretty strong connection to Kurt and Nirvana and a bunch of stuff in that era. And I have a little connection to that as well. Sorry, I'm being terrorized by my kitten here, Bishop. Once again, you may remember we got Bishop a couple months ago, and he's getting bigger and feistier. Anyway, I talked to my brother for about an hour, and we pretty much mostly talked about bands that we were in together. And these are bands that were between 1982 and around 1987, and Nirvana kind of blew up. And we talk about the scene and the punk rock scene back in Tacoma and Seattle in that era, and just that kind of stuff. So for some of you out there, there may be a little interest in that, kind of hearing some of the ground floor stuff that was going on back in those days. Anyway, that is all about me and music. We're going to get to movies now. What do I have this week? I have a screener for a little movie called Muzzle, City of Wolves. I've got a review of a brand new series on Netflix called The Beast in Me. I've also got, sorry, writing down a note while I'm talking to y'all. I've also got my quick thoughts about the brand new version of Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro, which a lot of people have seen already because it's on Netflix. And last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about the first 2 episodes of the brand new Vince Gilligan TV series on Apple TV called Pluribus. And that is something, I'll tell you. Okay, let's get to it. First, we've got Muzzle, City of Wolves by John Stahlberg. If I got that right? Yep. John Stahlberg, Land of Bad, I wrote down as one of the movies I did. I think we did watch Land of Bad a few years ago. I think that John Stahlberg was involved with that. Sorry, I'm really being terrorized by my kitten here. Hang on. Oh, well, I guess you're going to have to live with it. We're going to have sounds of a kitten going crazy back there. I can't do much about it until he's done. Okay, I fully chased him away. Anyway, yeah, John Stahlberg, responsible for Land of Bad, I do believe. The main star in here you're going to recognize is Aaron Eckhart as Jake. And Beekman is another main character in here. He's played by Carl Veining. I don't know if I'm saying that name right. So, really quickly, I started watching this movie, and I started having a weird feeling. First of all, this is one of those, I don't know, there's a dime a dozen million versions of these kind of aging, well-known stars. A lot of times they're action stars who get these B-movie kind of versions of action movies that we get these days. This one's a little better than that as far as the overall quality, though. Anyway, Aaron Eckhart's Jake. He's troubled. He's a ex-cop who's now, his whole role in life is to train these canine officers, either to be cadaver dogs or to be drug-sniffing dogs or just whatever kind of police version of a canine that you need. He trains them. So he's got a whole crew of them. In fact, I wrote down some of their names, Argos and Alpha, all these different names that he has. And Socks was one of them, I think. Argos is like the alpha dog. And then Socks was one of the other dogs he has. And he has like, I don't know, 6 or 7 dogs here. And right out of the beginning, he's got some bad history with the police force. That's why he went into this kind of offshoot where he's not really in the police force, but he's training these dogs for the police force. And he's, I don't know, he's sardonic and angry about life and just living on the edge with these dogs. But he seems to be making his way doing this. And then his past comes back to haunt him, and a cartel bombs his place, attacks him and then bombs his place. He gets out, barely gets out alive, but most of the dogs die. Except for, I think, Argos. Argos makes it out. I saw this a week ago and I've already forgotten some of it. So once again, if you're worried about the dog dying, the dog dies right at the beginning of this movie. That's why I'm telling you that you're going to know that you're going to see, I don't know, 5 or 6 dogs, and right out of the gate, almost all of them are going to die. And then he's going to be really angry because of that, of course. And the cartel is still after him because they missed on that hit they tried to get on him. And then he's got this one dog and himself left, and you can figure out like, oh, it's going to be him and the dog versus this cartel. So as a basic kind of setup, yeah, pretty good setup. It's pretty good revenge/action setup that you can get there. One thing, though, that kept nagging me in the first 15 or 20 minutes of this movie, I kept feeling like they dropped in characters or situations that I should have already known about or I was supposed to know more about, and I just felt like I was missing pieces. So I went back and looked, like while I was watching this movie on the IMDb, and sure enough, this is a sequel to the first Muzzle movie. I don't know if it had a subtitle as well, but I guess Muzzle movies are I don't know, is it a whole set of movies that he's going to be in? Maybe, I don't know. The way this movie plays out, I would expect they want even more to happen, because I'm not going to be giving a spoiler per se, other than to say that this movie ends up open-ended enough to indicate that there would be more movies. Now, did I like this movie? Did it work well? In some ways it did. Like the basic setup was interesting, and just having him go and have to use his dog with himself and outwit and outfight this vicious cartel. Yeah, it's an okay basic plot. But what nagged me is that, boy oh boy, is this movie right-wing, hard-coded to appeal to all of the fears that are being basically foisted upon us in this world. And once again, this is my own little gripe, so maybe it's not fair to put on the movie, but I feel like it's something that needs to be called out, for me at least. And that is, It's got all the things, and I wanted to make the joke, of course, that this movie should be called, instead of Muzzle, it should be called Dog Whistle, because of course a dog whistle in the right-wing MAGA world is when you put something out there, it's coded, so everyone knows what it means, but you can basically deny that that's what it's really about. It's telling everybody, like, hey, we're one of you, we're talking about the same thing, right? Usually it's something that's veiled racism, some kind of veiled information that's going to let everyone know that, like, oh, you're doing their work. Well, this movie, it may not be that hardcore. I mean, you can just look at it as a dumb action movie, but there's some things in there that are just so overt and over the top in a way that is just why. So, perfect example. Of course, the bad guys are cartels. Of course, the cartels are almost like superhuman, evil empires that are going after all the, quote, good people. And all the good people in this movie are pretty much white dudes. You can figure that out pretty quickly. And the cartels are, well, they're not white dudes, of course. Another thing that really struck me was that everywhere he goes, they really make a big point of showing that he's in the LA area, of course, that there's like tent cities and homeless people just everywhere, just all over the streets. And these homeless people are dangerous and crazy, and they're just invading our world. So once again, it really plays into the kind of the stereotype and the fear-mongering of all of our urban, quote, once again, that's a dog whistle, use that word, urban, but all of these cities, especially in blue states, are, just war zones and just riddled with drugs and crime and violence, and you just can't even live there unless you can fight the cartel and you have a police dog. It's that kind of an idea. So those kind of things just really rubbed me the wrong way when I was just like, just give me a dumb action movie. You don't have to like inject all of these societal ideals into here. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just being overly sensitive. I'm sure that someone else will watch this and go, hey, it was just a dumb movie about a cop that's angry, that's getting picked on by evil forces, and he's using his dog to help him do it. Now, on the other front, though, I will say something else that really I didn't like about it was, in these kind of movies, you're going to meet like side characters along the way. He's on this kind of a journey of sorts where he's keeps getting attacked and keeps escaping in some way from the cartel's clutches. And he'll keep meeting up with just random people. Like, so for example, there's another cop, and I won't really give that away if you want to watch it. There's another cop that has a big part of the plot here. And at one point, they're in a hospital, and there's a nurse, and she doesn't know what she's involved in. And you could have that nurse character be unsurprisingly like getting sucked into this very dangerous situation that she had no idea she was part of, and either getting out at the last minute or maybe not getting out at the last minute. But they make sure they have a point of, and once again, I'm giving away a spoiler of sorts, but I don't really care because this movie is just unnecessarily cruel, and that's my whole point with this part. And they just make a point of her getting killed really mercilessly in a couple different moments. Like, she actually kind of gets killed twice, sort of. And that kind of is something that's repeated throughout this movie. If it's a side character that really has nothing to do with the plot, who, from the way that they're represented to us, is just an innocent bystander, innocent bystanders will just all die in this movie. And once again, is that a spoiler of sorts? Sort of. Like, if you're going to be an innocent bystander in this world, you are going to die. Unless you have the police cop dog, or if you have, what's his name, Jake, near you. And once again, actually, that's not true. If Jake is near you and his dog is near you, you're probably going to die because they're not good at protecting people. They're more like, if you see them coming, you're probably going to get killed as just a piece of violence on the side. Yeah, I didn't like this movie very much at all. I think it's really cynical. I think it's not even, I don't know, it's just not brave enough to just be its own dumb action movie. It has to just be okay, this reminds me of, okay, I'm not being very articulate on this one, I'm sorry. It kind of reminds me of the old Death Wish movies. Now, I know, looking in the past, a lot of people really love these, quote, exploitation movies from the past. And some exploitation movies I can enjoy, but a lot of times I don't like exploitation movies. And I think part of it is because a lot of times exploitation movies are really just mean-spirited and angry and like unnecessarily violent and cruel to the characters in the story. And it becomes weird coming from me because I love a lot of very violent, very bloody movies. I love some horror movies. I love really extreme movies sometimes. But when they have this kind of, when I feel like the filmmakers themselves have this kind of cynical attitude, it feels gross. And the Death Wish movies were like that, like where they'll just have a point of taking Charles Bronson's family and assaulting them, murdering them, all these things, just literally as plot devices to make him angry and want to go kill, quote unquote, street punks, which of course were always different colors. They were very rarely a white dude. And this movie just feels like a neo version of that sort of movie, which is just this veiled worldview being represented as a, quote, action movie. So what do I rate this movie? I mean, it's well produced, and Aaron Eckhart's doing a decent job in his role, but I can't go more than 1 star on this movie because of what it is. If it weren't all the other stuff around the movie, if it was just a straight ahead movie, I'd probably go 2.5, but it's 1 star because it's just vile. I don't like it. Okay, let's move on. The Beast in Me, Netflix. This is a series. Once again, I get screeners for certain Netflix series sometimes, and the weird thing about them is they release them pretty early, so I'll end up watching them not knowing when it's going to get released. So I saw this series probably almost 2 months ago now, so I'll try to give you my best impressions. I should probably record a review and just hold it off to the side when I see it, so it's nice and fresh. But either way, The Beast in Me is dropping this week. Limited series. It seems like it's going to be a one and done, although they suppose they could find a way to do another season if it's popular. It's by the same people who made Homeland. If you ever watched Homeland with Claire Danes, which was all about like terrorism and political intrigue, and it was a real kind of a twisty ongoing series for about 4 or 5 seasons. And it stayed pretty dour and pretty deadly serious about terrorism and just being embroiled in that undercover kind of life and how it really weighed on Claire Danes' character. In fact, I think there was even some kind of semi-meme kind of stuff about her cry face because she cried so much in that movie, or that series, I should say. So when I saw this coming, I was interested in it. The same makers. Didn't know what it was about. Just knew that Claire Danes was in it again by the same people who made Homeland. And it was called The Beast in Me. So I thought, I'm going to check this out. And one thing that I was really pleasantly surprised by this was it was much less dour, sad, crying face Claire Danes than I expected it to be, and much more of an almost borderline campy, chewing the scenery thriller kind of a series than I expected it to be. So how to describe the series? So at the beginning, I was worried it was going to be another cry face Claire Danes series, because it starts out and her name, or Aggie Wiggs, I guess that's a terrible name. Aggie Wiggs, Claire Danes' character. She's like this rich author, lives in this very upscale neighborhood, huge house, but she's all alone because there's a tragedy, and I'll get into the tragedy. And the tragedy stuff happens before the series happens, but it's haunting her. And you can tell that she's a broken person. She's almost agoraphobic. She's almost just hiding in her house. Not fully, but she doesn't really get out. She had this really large, huge novel about her father, and it made her a star in the world of authors. And she's really, really well known, but she isn't making a new book. She isn't writing a new book. Her publishers are getting really antsy because they've given her a huge advance, and she keeps promising them, I'm going to get you a bunch more chapters, whatever. And she's just not writing. She's really just broken. And at this point, I'm thinking to myself, oh, here we go again. This is going to be this sad psycho drama about her dealing with grief and tragedy in her life and trying to be an author. And I thought, wow, it's going to be a real drag. But it turns really quickly. Even, I think by the end of the first episode, you know where you're at. And what really comes down is Niall Jarvis moves in next door. Remember, it's a very rich neighborhood, mansions. This guy moves in next door, played by Matthew Rhys. I think I have his name pronounced right. And he is famous too. But he's famous for being a notorious wife killer, like a socialite killer of his wife, but no one was ever able to prove it. So very similar to the Jinx if you remember the Jinx, which I forgot the name of that dude, real life series, a documentary about this rich socialite dude who killed a few people, and they could never really make it stick until the documentary came out, and he basically outed himself on hidden microphone like an idiot. But he was this very charismatic, messed up dude who murdered people and was getting for a while getting away with it, even though everybody pretty much knew he was a murderer. Same sort of situation here, where she's got this neighbor who everyone thinks is probably murdered his wife, but never could really prove it. So he's notorious, he's famous, he's also charming, and he's her neighbor. He's Claire Danes' neighbor. And at first, she, of course, doesn't want anything to do with him, but he's charming and mesmerizing in a way, very Hannibal Lecter, Clarice Starling-esque, where it's like she hates him, knows he's trouble, but also is fascinated by him. So he basically proposes to her really early, like, you know what? Everyone wants to write the book about me. Everyone wants to have the scoop on me because they think I'm a wife killer. I'm going to give you the chance because you're a great author. You should write a book about me. That's the basic setup. He says, write a book about me, follow me around, I'll give you the scoop. But you also feel like, what's he trying to get out of her? He's enjoying this too much. There's something wrong here. And then, of course, she is just trying to get back into her writing life and got to get herself going again. That leads to a whole bunch of twists and turns and thriller elements. There's this whole element of, I guess I can give it away because it's in the first episode. There's this kid who was a drunk driver who's responsible for the death that she's haunted by. She points this kid out to Niall Jarvis, and he's like, and he knows that she's haunted by this kid, and all of a sudden this kid goes disappearing, and she's really freaked out that, oh my gosh, I'm friends with this wife killer. Maybe he killed the kid who's responsible for the death in my family. Now I'm like in bed with the killer and he's like done it again. That's what she thinks. So of course she wants to go ahead and she wants to solve the mystery, and he just wants to have a book written, right? That's all he wants. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of twists and turns. Like I said, it's borderline campy. It's always scenery chewing, way more, quote, fun than I expected from a series with Claire Danes in this day and age. So yeah, if you're looking for some kind of and like I said, it's a complete story, this series. Now, I think they could have an ongoing series with her in a different way. I'm not going to say how because I don't want to say how this series ends, but I'll just say that this series, season 1 or whatever it's going to be called, is a complete enough story that if it ends there, it's satisfying. If it doesn't end there, it's not going to be bad either, but I think it can be a one and done pretty easily. I'm going to probably go 3.5 or 4, 3.5 or 4. I'm going to go 4 stars with this. I think it's an easy breezy, that's terrible. I think it's an easy watch. And I think this is a kind of good watch that you can sit down with a spouse or something and you don't have to think about it too hard. You don't have to get too emotionally invested in. It's just, like I said, it's more of a thrill ride and a twisty turny, a psychological, like crime thriller mystery sort of thing. And it's a lot of fun. And I think there's there's a lot of good side characters too. I'm not going to get at all of them, but it's a lot of fun. The Beast in Me on Netflix should be available now. Okay. Also already available now for about a week on Netflix is Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro's version of Frankenstein with a whole bunch of famous people. I'll just list a few of them. You've got Victor, played by Oscar Isaac. You got the monster or the creature, whatever you want to call him, Jacob Elordi. I don't really like Jacob Elordi, but he's pretty good here. I have to give him credit. He's not bad. You got Harlander, played by Christoph Waltz, who is the benefactor. He's the one that provides all the money so Victor can build this giant scientific laboratory to make Frankenstein. Elizabeth, played by Mia Goth, and the father of Victor is played by Charles Dance. That gives you enough of the main characters to know what's going on. There's more, of course. So, Frankenstein. What do you say about Frankenstein? They've made how many versions of Frankenstein? Well, first of all, just actual basic versions of Frankenstein, there's got to be tons. And then offshoot weirdo versions of Frankenstein, another ton. There's been so many versions of Frankenstein. I mean, even last year or the year before, there was Lisa Frankenstein. I think there's a brand new Bride of Frankenstein happening this coming year, directed by, who was it directed by? Not Maggie Gyllenhaal, is it? Somebody famous. Forget who it is, but that one looks really odd and crazy. This is what you'd expect from a Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein. It's very gothic, it's very opulent, it's very visually lush. It's got a ton of the hallmarks of Guillermo del Toro. It's got the monster that the woman loves. It's got some sort of a dark angel figure. It's got, like I said, gothic scenery and set pieces and sets. And he's been making a version of Frankenstein over and over for a big chunk of his career. I mean, he's got like elements of Frankenstein in lots of his stuff. And by all accounts, he's been obsessed with Frankenstein for a whole bunch of his life. But ultimately, the big question I asked when I was watching this movie is why? Like, I know you love Frankenstein. It's like if you love The Wizard of Oz, you don't have to remake The Wizard of Oz. In fact, usually letting that love infuse your work lets people know it's an influence and something you love, but it's also transforming it into something that's yours, as opposed to just trying to remake that thing you love. Whether it's Dracula, whether it's the most recent Nosferatu, especially when it's something that has already been made really, really well, when there's like not only a really great movie version of the story, but a classic. I mean, by all accounts, I think most people consider the Universal version of Frankenstein and The Bride of Frankenstein to be classic movies, and I would agree. I don't really love the Hammer ones very much, but there's been a bunch of versions, of course. Frankenstein, was it Shelley's Frankenstein by Branagh back in the 90s? That was pretty terrible. This is, in style and in story, this is probably closest to that version. But either way you look at it, it's a basic story version of Frankenstein. It's not taking Frankenstein and adapting it into something really crazy. It's taking the original story and trying to make the original story, but just through the lens of Guillermo del Toro. So to me, your love or not love of this movie is going to go with how much you love Guillermo. I really like a lot of Guillermo stuff, but lately I've been less and less happy with the stuff he's put out because I feel like he's getting more and more into Tim Burton land, where he's remaking things that people have already made before. We did, it was Nightmare Alley. At least with that was something that no one's really seen or it's obscure. But to make something huge that everyone's seen before, he did Pinocchio too. But in that case, I enjoyed it quite a bit because it was stop motion. It was a totally different version of Pinocchio than we've seen before in a really, really interesting way. And he actually adapted it in a really interesting way as well. He fused it with all the stuff that he's obsessed with around Spain and stuff. Whereas here, he just is doing like a pretty straight ahead version of Frankenstein. So what's good here? First of all, you can probably guess I'm not in love with this movie. I think people are pretty happy with this movie overall. For me, I think it's mostly dull. And that's my biggest gripe with it. It's 2.5 hours long, which I'm fine with a 2.5 hour movie, especially Frankenstein is a pretty sprawling, epic story. So it can definitely hold up 2.5 hours. But for me, the opening, everyone's liking the final third of this movie the most. Some people are complaining about the opening. I think the opening is okay. I mean, not the really, really beginning opening is a bunch of stuff in like the North Pole area or whatever, and him with a ship and all this stuff. And basically it's creating the framework for Victor telling the story of how he made the monster and all this stuff to a captain that's in this ship that's basically stuck in the ice. That's the framework. But once the story gets going, I would say the middle third of this movie, I really quite like all the stuff where he's showing his abilities to reanimate corpses to the school and getting basically expelled, and the stuff you've seen in Young Frankenstein, and then all the stuff where he's essentially having to build the monster. That stuff's all really good. I think there's a ton of good practical work there. It's really cool looking. It's very gory, but in a very like a dissection sort of a look. you kind of get the feel of these kind of anatomical models from the 1800s that are just like disassembled people and bodies, and he's using these bodies and he's pushing all these things together and trying to make them work and using electricity and getting artisans to build these giant lightning rods and all that stuff I really enjoyed. And even the stuff right after that, where the monster's first there like a giant child and chained in the basement, and how Elizabeth sees it as a tragic monster. And once again, you're starting to set up the basic kind of Del Toro trope of the beautiful woman in love with the monster kind of a thing. That stuff all was working pretty well. It's definitely an overheated performance as Victor by Oscar Isaac, but still even that kind of works because you think of Victor Frankenstein having a very elevated, yelling sort of a performance. You think of Gene Wilder, of course, and of course the original Frankenstein, and just how he's alive, it's alive, all that kind of stuff. So all that worked really well. But when Frankenstein leaves the castle and when he's out in the country and there's the blind man and all that stuff, I thought the movie for me just ground to a halt. The effects looked worse, became much more digital. The point of the story, I know the point of the story of him learning to become he's a human and being caring about the world, and he's more human than the monster, and the real monster is Victor, and all that kind of malarkey is fine, but it's not very interesting. And that whole last half of the movie is just not very vibrant to me. It's just kind of plods along where it's going. And by the end of the movie, they transform the monster into sort of almost a superhero of sorts. And that part didn't really work for me at all. So for me, this is like 2/3, like 1/3, not a very good movie. Another third, okay movie. And then 1/3, pretty darn good movie. So if I'm averaging it all up, I mean, I would probably go 3 stars, like a mild recommend. I think a lot of people are really enjoying it, so I would say definitely give it a try. It looks beautiful sometimes. I think it's way overrated as far as how beautiful it looks, because I think there's a lot of for the current world, it's a pretty low grade digital look stuff going on here. So I'm not super impressed by the visuals, other than the kind of stuff we've seen from Del Toro before, and I think we've seen it better before. So this is going to be definitely mid to lower tier Guillermo del Toro for me. Oh, and the last thing I didn't bring up, everyone's comparing it to other movies and other movie versions. To me, the one thing I kept bringing up, and I don't think anyone else shared my vision here, but other than like Young Frankenstein or the original Frankensteins, I kept thinking of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I know that seems weird, but if you watch the parts right after the monster is created in this version by Del Toro, there's this whole sequence in the bed chambers with this canopied bed, and the monster is still just in his wrappings, which are just essentially just shorts, and he's running around, and Victor has a candelabra, and Victor has to tear off his red leather gloves instead of pink rubber gloves in Rocky Horror Picture Show. And the coding of all of the visuals there are so, to me, so reminiscent of Rocky Horror Picture Show. I just don't think it's unintentional. If it is unintentional, I think it's hilarious. But if it is intentional, I give Del Toro credit for that. I wish he would have leaned into it. I think this could have been a camp classic. I think this should have been a camp classic. He should have really just cranked everything up to 11 on this one and just gone crazy. I think, honestly, I know people don't like Crimson Peak. I think if you want to look at the gothic, super gothic masterpieces of Del Toro, I think Crimson Peak for me is much more fun than this. But I don't know. I think I'm alone on an island there, but whatever. Okay, 3 stars for Frankenstein. Now, last but not least, the best thing I saw this week. And if you haven't jumped onto this, you need to jump onto this. And that is Pluribus, the brand new TV series by Vince Gilligan. Once again, you know him as the creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He did a bunch of work on the X-Files. I'm going to give a very short review here, and then I'm going to get into some musings of where might this series go? Because I think that's going to be the most fun to think about. Because actually reviewing these first 2 episodes, I'm just going to say 5 stars. 5 stars right now. Now, this series could fall off a cliff, like Lost. But right now, it's an amazing setup and a very, very entertaining setup for a TV series. Now, to get into much of anything in this series, you have to almost get into spoilers. But let's just say, if you don't know anything about what this series is about, I would say go in cold, because the first episode is a fantastic discovery of what this series is about. And the second episode, the first two are available now. The second episode is a fantastic, basically explaining of the world that we were just introduced to a little bit in the first episode. Plus, it sets up a whole bunch of rules and the situation that the current world of the series is for our main character of Carol. So that by the end of the second episode, you know where you're at. And if you're like me, you're wondering, like, where is this going to go? How are they going to make a full series out of this? And the possibilities aren't endless, but the possibilities are very intriguing and very interesting. Carol, once again, is played by Ray Seahorn. Rhea, I don't know how to say your name, but she was in Better Call Saul. She is like the core of this series. Also playing Zosia, otherwise known as Pirate Lady, is Carolina Hydra. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. There are a bunch of other characters in this movie series, but it all centers around Carol. Carol is your central character. How to describe this without ruining it for everybody? Let's just say, all I'm going to say is, it is going into the best of the Twilight Zone ideas. So a Twilight Zone episode, you have a great concept, something in the real world, or something in the world of your characters goes sideways, and your characters have to deal with it. And a lot of time it has to deal with ideas or concepts of our current real world being really considered in a very unnatural or crazy event. That's what happens in Twilight Zone. And a lot of times in Twilight Zone, they were dealing with real world issues. And this does too, but I just want to make sure everyone understands, like, so you're thinking, like, oh, it's Twilight Zone, it's going to be this kind of sci-fi sort of a thing. That's what we got in Pluribus. But I got to emphasize the level of humor here is also very high. And it's not just a serious thriller / sci-fi / scary series. There is a ton of humor, a ton of satire, a ton of stuff going on here that makes it, I think, dually entertaining, because the Twilight Zone-esque stuff is very intriguing and interesting. And if you really got a love for this kind of idea-based sci-fi, I think you will be very satisfied so far. But if you also love satirical and humorous stuff, and not just always just the kind of heady, serious ideas, then I think that the humor and the satire here is also going to work very well for you. For me, it's a perfect kind of a pairing. So I'm about to get into some spoilers now, because I think for those who've seen it, I would just, like I said before, 5 stars. Go watch the first 2 episodes, then maybe watch the last little bit that here I'm going to talk about. If you've already seen the episodes, you can hear what I'm going to talk about. Because what I'd like to have is, I would love to have people out there tell me what you think might happen. Like, where are some directions this might go? Because if you're like me and you've watched the first 2, your mind is spinning about all the possibilities and what all this means. I haven't really spun my brain on a show like this since probably Devs. That was the last time I really had to constantly think, well, where's this going to go and what's going to happen, and consider possibilities and all that stuff. And that's where these kind of series, I think, are super fun. Okay, about to go into some spoiler stuff, so get ready. Okay, I gave you a chance. All right, anyway, basic concept. We all know, because if you're here at this point, you already know, is that Carol is stuck as one of the last remaining non-hive mind humans on Earth. I think there's 12 that we know of so far. Now, this show could definitely introduce a few others that maybe have not been discovered or known by the hive mind yet. But the billions of people that human being, I don't know what you want to call them, shells that are left on Earth, are all in the hive mind, except for obviously Carol and the few people that she's met so far. I do find it interesting that she only wanted to meet English speakers. It seems very dumb on her part, but she's such a flawed and angry and mostly unsympathetic character, but so funny too. And I mean, that's what's great about her too. Such a complex and interesting lead character that we are following. Someone we don't even like that much, but you have to root for her because she's one of the last people with their full humanity left. Now, once again, she's met like the 5 people who spoke English in the world who are like her, but not the others, which to me is a huge mistake on her part because she doesn't know. They're one of those other 7 or 6, I guess, because she's one of the 12. One of those other 6 people might be like her. We don't know. So that part I want to really know more about. The other thing I want to know more about is there's a big question on consent, because I'm going to call them the aliens because there's no other way to say it. The alien hive mind basically says, we don't want you to be unhappy. We don't want to hurt you. We don't want to hurt anybody. We just want you to be happy. First of all, that can't be that true because she's showing them over and over again she's not happy. So they're not willing to do anything like not be a hive mind so she'd be happy. So that's obviously not quite true, but they're not trying to do anything overtly to upset her or to hurt anybody. My question is this. They say that all the knowledge and all the memories and everything that every human being that they are part of in their hive mind is all known at all times, because essentially it's kind of like every human being in the world's memory got combined into one. So like we've seen in the show, if someone needs to fly a plane, any human on Earth can now fly a plane because they have the knowledge of how to fly a plane from whoever knew how to fly a plane in existence. The question I have is there any awareness left in any of those billions of people of their actual selves? Or are they all essentially dead and the knowledge is just now shared, and essentially this knowledge, this awareness of everything, of all the humans on Earth, this hive mind, is just essentially a giant puppeteer, and all those billions of people are just puppets? Because they show that some of them are out like picking up the bodies of the people who died, some of them are fixing something, some of them are, I don't know, just doing whatever the jobs need to get done to keep Earth running. Because if the Earth needs to keep running, vehicles, electricity, power, all these things, all these humans some humans have to do these jobs. So my question is this: if the people have any awareness still, then they would know they're being puppeteered, which would mean that for sure some people would be doing things that they don't want to do and they would be unhappy, which would mean the hive mind is either lying or deluding itself to think that the people are happy. Or by default, if those people don't have any awareness, then they're not happy or unhappy. They're just not people. They're just meat puppets. Just Meat Puppets, the band, of course. They're just meat puppets, essentially, and the only actual human beings on Earth are Carol and the other 11 people. That's my number 1 question. My number 2 question is, we've seen in this series already that if Carol gets really angry and really like emotionally upset towards the hive mind, that they go into the seizure. And we already discovered the seizure basically causes every, quote, meat puppet in the world to seize up and causes millions of deaths, because planes are flying and cars are driving, wherever these people are. If they're seized up, a bunch of people will die. They're not people anymore. Once again, meat puppets. But she, of course, feels guilt over that. And in fact, the hive mind doesn't even want to tell her that that happens because they know that it will upset her. And I'm wondering, I'm very curious in the next episode or so, if we're going to see, because I assume we're going to stick with Carol most of the time, although that's another possibility. We might have a whole episode with a whole other person that's like Carol in another area of the world and see what happens. We also might go back in time. We might see what happened at the changeover into this hive mind in another area of the world. But assuming we stay with Carol, I'm waiting to see if we get a seizure moment happening that she doesn't cause. And if that happens, she's going to know I'm expecting this to happen actually. The moment that there's a seizure event that she didn't cause, she's going to know that one of the 12 humans out there is like her and is not happy with the situation, not content to just live this sort of kept life where they just give you what you want and you can pretend like you are a real human in this world still. So I'm wondering if that's going to happen. And if it is, I'm looking forward to it. Other than that, it could go so many different directions. Another direction I'm wondering if it'll happen is, will there be something where she figures out how to use their limitations to challenge them, and will it break them in some way, or set up an actual adversarial situation? Because right now they're trying to appease her, trying to keep her happy, give her everything they want, everything she wants, do anything they can to keep her as content as possible, even knowing that she's not happy, because they want to have time to figure out why the people like her did not assimilate and be able to force the rest to assimilate, the last 12 to assimilate. While they're trying to do that, they're biding their time, right? So while they're biding their time, will she figure out that like, oh, they must try to not hurt anybody and to keep everybody happy? And can she do something that will short out their brains? Like, in other words, show them the moral conflict where they have to make a choice. Because for example, what if she shows them kind of the equivalent of the trolley car experiment, where it's like you got the two tracks and there's one person on one track. What does it go? One person on one track and a whole bunch of people on the other track. And depending on which way you do the switch, either one person dies or a bunch of people die, but there's no good choice, right? Any choice you pick, you're going to kill people. And they keep changing the who's on the tracks and all that kind of stuff. It's this whole moral conundrum thing. And if they can do that sort of a thing, if she can do that sort of a thing with the hive mind, how will they work? Will they short out? Will they break? Will they see her at that point as a threat and actually actively fight her? That's the kind of things I'm really wondering about here, because I feel like pretty quickly she could show them something that's a problem there. I think, and I've even brought it up a little bit, because with all the humorous stuff that we had with her meeting all these people who are content, that are like her, there's of course the one dude that's got Air Force One, he's got all his models, but of course really quickly they get into the thing like, well, what is the consent level of these models? He's just picked a bunch of models, so these were human beings. If they still have an awareness within them that can't consent because it's controlled by the hive mind, then essentially he's assaulting all these women. She thinks of it like that too. If they're not humans at all, well, then they're just basically like sex dolls, which also is gross, but at least it's not morally as bad. But the hive mind also says it can't choose things. It can only do what it wants them to do, like what the humans say they want them to do. Like it can't make a choice. That's the whole thing of Zosia, right? Zosia is shown as Carol's kind of, I guess, concierge. It's they call her chaperone at one point in the world, right? It's kind of her person to be there with her, even though it's not a person anymore. Once again, meat puppet. But when hedonistic dude is like, well, I like Zosia too. I learned her name. I want to take her now. Do I have your permission? And then Carol's like, well, my permission. And he's like, well, yeah, or actually Zosia says like, yes, you have to give us permission because we don't want to make you unhappy. We don't want to hurt you. If you want Zosia to be with you, it might hurt you if we force her to go with this dude as one of his concubines, basically. And the question there is, so they can't choose. So what does that mean in that world? Like, they can't make a moral choice. They can't pick which is worse. So no, and I think she could point out to them, like, if you can't pick what's worse, then you know that both options are bad. Like forcing her to go with this dude, if I don't like it, is bad. But if I say, make her stay with me, and the guy wanted her, well, then he's going to be unhappy, so that's bad too. So then either way, the hive mind is essentially picking something that is going to hurt somebody. So I'm really looking forward to like how the hive mind deals with these kind of moral quandaries that are going to come up. Once again, there's a whole bunch of symbolic stuff that this series could be about. People have mentioned AI. They've mentioned things like the pandemic. Of course, they've mentioned things like, I don't know, like cults or the idea that just contentedness in the world is all you need, and not ever, it's bad to have anger and to deal with negative emotions, whereas here it's like being shown as like might be the only thing that makes you human. There's just a lot of interesting stuff going on, and just funny, consistently funny. I love this series so far. I really hope it doesn't go down the lost path and just go off the rails. I hope and I trust that Vince Gilligan has a plan, because generally speaking, he is shown to have a pretty good track record and a pretty good plan for these kind of things. I personally believe it feels like the series shouldn't be longer than a few seasons, because I think it could easily run out of steam. I'd love it to be a single one and done series, but most of these creators and most of these networks don't have the guts to just do that. Most of them feel like they have to have if they have a hit, they got to keep it going. But kind of like Severance season 2 felt like a lot of spinning your wheels, whereas like season 1 was so good and so tight. Just have the conviction to do a single season and have it be what it is. Anyway, I've rambled enough. I would love to hear what other people think might happen. Like, what are some things that you think would happen, or want to see happen, or want to see dealt with in the world that we've been set up with in Pluribus? And we'll see what happens and discuss for the future as it continues, because I think it's going to end up being a really interesting and it's going to be talked about a lot, I think. And that's all I got this week. Once again, 5 stars to the first 2 episodes of Pluribus on Apple TV. Talk to y'all next week.